Welcome to novelsaudio.com. We hope you have a relaxing and enjoyable time.
Stranger Marriage, Chapter 513. After a long silence, Hank said, "Liberty, if I agree to your condition of dividing the property, will you really give me all the evidence you have and promise not to report me to my boss? As long as I get what I deserve, I promise that I won't take any revenge against you." However, Liberty could not guarantee that. Serenity or Zachary would not do anything. After pondering for a while, Hank said, "I can give you the money, but can't give you Sonny's custody. Sonny is my flesh and blood, and my parents love Sonny. I won't give up on Sonny's custody." Hank was afraid that if he gave Liberty the custody of Sonny, his parents would kill him when he returned home. Besides, Sonny was his son and his only child at present, so he was reluctant to give up Sonny. Liberty raised her hand and splashed her unfinished juice on Hank's face. "Hank, how do you still have the nerve to fight for Sonny's custody? How dare you claim Sonny as your flesh and blood and your parents' grandson? Just look at how you all treated Sonny still cries a lot, and the bruises on his face haven't subsided. Didn't you cause enough harm to Sonny? Will you only be satisfied when Sonny dies because of your family?" Hank looked pathetic with his face stained with juice. He was also irritated by Liberty's actions. Jessica hurriedly took out a tissue and helped him wipe the juice off his face. She then said to Liberty, "Didn't you say you want to talk properly? Why did you splash Hank with juice and stain his suit? Will you pay for his dry cleaning?" "Ms. Yates, I think you haven't figured out the situation yet," Liberty said sarcastically. "Before our divorce is finalized, Hank is legally still my husband, so what's his is also mine." "Ms. Yates, what right do you have to ask me to pay for his dry cleaning? Who the hell are you?" Jessica was so angry that her face turned red. "Jessica," Hank said gently, "I'm fine, don't get mad because of her. Otherwise, I'll feel bad for you." Jessica said softly, "But I feel bad for you." Liberty looked with mocking eyes at the two people showing off their affection for each other. Hank was completely dead to her. Did Hank think that Liberty would get agitated if he and Jessica acted lovey-dovey? That would just make Liberty nauseous. "Liberty." Hank suppressed his anger and said, "What happened with Sonny was an accident. Matthew and Lucas are still young and aren't sensible. We've already dealt with them and taught Matthew a lesson." Matthew apologized to Sonny, and my sister paid $50,000 for Sonny's emotional damage. So, just let it end here, okay? I can guarantee that this won't happen again. My parents have moved out of my sister's house and into my house, so they'll take care of Sonny wholeheartedly in the future. Sonny's custody belongs to me. If you promise to give up on Sonny's custody, I'll transfer half of my savings to you right now. Then, we can go to the city hall to finalize the divorce." It happened to be a Monday, so the city hall was open. It was also just after lunch, so they still had time to go through the formalities. Transferring money to Liberty would also be easy since Hank was a VIP customer in the bank, thus he could get the transfer done quickly. "Hank, I want to have a chat with Ms. Yates alone. Please give us some privacy." Hank and Jessica looked at each other. Jessica said softly, "Don't worry, I won't let her bully me. You should go out first. I'm curious about what she wants from me." "Liberty, talk properly, don't use your fists." Stranger Marriage, Chapter 514. Hank was worried that Liberty would get rough with Jessica if he was not there. When Hank thought about the day Liberty caught him and Jessica in the hotel that night, his legs felt weak. Liberty was brutal when she beat up Jessica. Liberty said coldly, "I don't want to get my hands dirty by hitting her." "Don't worry, I'll return her to you in prime condition." "Liberty, why can't I be here when it's our business?" Hank was still worried. Liberty fought back when he hit her and dared chase him down a few blocks with a knife. This made Hank realize that Liberty was capable of anything when she was angry. This is a negotiation between a wife and a mistress, so a scumbag like you can *CK off. Hank was speechless. He glared at Liberty, got up reluctantly, and walked out. Once Hank went out, Jessica raised her hand and brushed her hair away before she asked, "So, what do you want to talk to me about?" "Liberty, Hank loves me now, so if you don't want to make this worse than it already is, I advise you to divorce Hank as soon as possible." "Don't worry," Liberty said calmly, "I'm not trying to take Hank from you. He doesn't care about me anymore, so there's no need for me to fight for him." Liberty could live without Hank and the earth would still spin. Liberty might be even better off without Hank. Ms. Yates, you're younger than I was and just graduated from college when you met Hank. Do you really want to be a stepmother to a 2.5-year-old boy? Jessica froze. After a while, she said reluctantly, Sonny's very cute. I'll try my best to build a good relationship with him. For Hank's sake, I'm willing to raise Sonny. Liberty said sarcastically, Ms. Yates, you don't have to force yourself. Hank isn't here, so he won't find out what you really think. It's tough to be a stepmother. Even if you're sincere, people will still say you're a vicious stepmother. If you discipline Sonny, people will say that you bullied your stepson. If you don't care about him, they'll say that you let him fend for himself since he's not your biological son. No matter what you do, you're the one who will be blamed. Jessica's expression was unsettled. She did not want to be a stepmother to Sonny. Jessica was still young, and Hank would be her husband eventually, so she would definitely have her own children. In the future, she would not have time or energy to take care of her own children, let alone other people's. Liberty was right. Being a stepmother was difficult because to outsiders, all stepmothers were vicious. Whether they did well or not, they were the ones who would be blamed. However, Hank wanted to fight for Sonny's custody and Jessica's future. In-laws did not want to give up Sonny. Jessica was not married to Hank yet and did not have any say in the family, so she could not show her true colors for the time being. Liberty, Hank is the one who wants to fight for Sonny's custody, so it's useless even if you tell me this. Since I love Hank, I can also accept Sonny. Sonny would be taken care of by her future in-laws and would not live with her anyway. At most, they would just need to give him a monthly living allowance of $3,000. With Jessica's and Hank's income, $3,000 was nothing. It cost way more to buy a set of skincare products. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 515. Liberty said, Ms. Yates, you'll probably marry Hank after we get divorced. You're both young, so it won't be long before you have your own child. Are you willing to let Sonny share Hank's fatherly love with your child? Even if Hank said that his parents will take care of Sonny in his hometown, his parents will definitely feel sorry for Sonny and favor Sonny over your child. They'll also ask Hank to spend more time with Sonny and treat your child differently. Are you willing to let your child suffer like that? If I take Sonny, I will only ask Hank to pay $3,000 a month for child support. Hank doesn't need to care about anything else. I won't blame him even if he doesn't see Sonny again in the next decade. This will be the best solution, with the least impact on you and your children. You don't have to see the kid that Hank and I share all the time either. I'm guessing that when you look at Sonny, you'll think of my past with Hank. Hank and I have known each other for 12 years, having dated for 7 years, and were married for more than 3 years. That's much longer than your relationship with him, can you really not be bothered? If Sonny is with me, you don't have to see him again. Maybe Hank will still visit Sonny in the beginning, but once you have your own child, his attention will be on your child. Your child can have all his love. Isn't that great? Hank earns a lot, so in the future, all his money will be for you and your children. After Sonny turns 18, Hank won't need to pay child support anymore, and you can save a lot of money. Think about it. It's so expensive to get married now. The groom has to buy a house, a car, an expensive wedding gift, and hold a ceremony. All of that takes money. If Hank takes custody of Sonny, Hank might help Sonny to buy a house and a car in the future so that Sonny can get married. That will just further deplete your children's share. Jessica was silent for a long time before she asked, What do you want me to do? Can you guarantee that you won't contact Hank again after you take custody of Sonny? If he wants to see Sonny, you can send Sonny to his parents' place and let them meet there. Sonny's child support will be cut by half to $1,500 a month. You can't ask Hank for more money for Sonny's school or wedding in the future. But when Hank gets old, Sonny must fulfill his responsibility as a son. If you can do this, I'll persuade Hank to give up Sonny's custody and give it to you. Liberty looked at Jessica and said calmly, If I file for divorce, the judge will give Sonny's custody to me since I've been taking care of Sonny all this while. Moreover, I still have evidence of the Browns abusing Sonny, so Hank has no chance of winning. I'm only willing to negotiate calmly for your sake, Ms. Yates. Anyway, you're the homewrecker and you and Hank have already slept together. If you get pregnant, due child to be called an illegitimate child. If you two live together and have a child as husband and wife, I can also sue Hank for bigamy. Sunny's child support must be $3,000 a month, and not a penny less. I won't ask for a penny more either. If Hank fulfills his responsibility of raising Sunny, and when Sunny gets older, Sunny will naturally fulfill his responsibility as a son to support Hank. You want Liberty did not want Sunny to be responsible for supporting the scumbag Hankin. The future if Hank refuses child support. Now that Liberty had the upper hand, she would fight for her son's child support. Of course, it'll be better if Hank pays for Sunny's child support in full. Jessica was silenced again. Liberty stopped talking, looked at Jessica quietly, and waited for her to think it through. After a long time, Jessica said, I can persuade Hank, but I can't guarantee that he'll listen. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 516, Liberty smiled and said, Hank is currently obsessed with you, so he'll definitely listen to you. You should go and talk to him now. If he agrees to give up on Sunny's custody, ask him to take some time off from the office so we can complete the divorce procedures this afternoon. The sooner he becomes single, the sooner you can marry him and become the wife of Waltham Electronics manager. Waltham Electronics has a good rep in the industry, with good prospects and scalability. If you become the manager's wife, you'll be better off than others in the office. The main thing is that he'll be yours in the future. You can spend however much he earns, and you don't have to sneak around with him anymore. You two can show your affection openly in public. I think most women want that, right? Hank is only 30 years old, and he's successful. If you miss out on him, you might not be able to find someone better than him in the future. Ms. Yates, for your happiness, this is the time to shine. After more pondering, Jessica said, you can borrow a laptop from the cafe owner and type out the new divorce agreement. Then, sign your name and stamp your fingerprint on it. We'll go to City Hall later and finalize the divorce procedures. I'll go out now and persuade Hank to give up on Sunny's custody. Sure, but I'll only go to the City Hall to finalize the divorce once I've received the money from the division of assets. Who knows whether the two of you will go back on your word. Later, Liberty was not stupid. She would not compromise again since she no longer loved Hank. Liberty had to be vigilant so she would not suffer a loss. Jessica took out her phone and checked the time. It was already 2 o'clock in the afternoon. If they were quick, they could complete the divorce procedures the very same afternoon. Wait here. You should borrow a laptop first and print out your divorce agreement. I'll go out and persuade Hank now. Jessica was also afraid that Hank and Liberty would delay this for too long and she would not be able to marry Hank. Moreover, the evidence that Liberty held onto was detrimental to Jessica and Hank. Hank finally got to his current position and had a high income, so he could not destroy his own future. What Liberty said was reasonable too. Although the division of assets was painful at the moment, as long as they kept their jobs, Jessica and Hank could earn more than $1 million a year. Then, they would be able to regain the money they gave to Liberty in a year. If they drew a clear line now, whatever Hank earned in the future would have nothing to do with Liberty. Of course, before Jessica married Hank, she would ask Hank to add her name to the title deed, give her his salary account, and hold a big wedding for her. Okay, I'll print out the divorce agreement, sign it, and stamp my fingerprint on it while persuade Hank. Jessica left her seat and walked out. She was ready to persuade Hank to give up on Sunny's custody with full force. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 517, Hank was waiting outside, but he kept staring at the two women in the cafe for fear that Liberty would suddenly go mad and beat up Jessica. He was relieved when he saw Jessica coming out and hurried over to meet her. Jessica, she didn't do anything to you, did she? Jessica touched her face and said, just the slap from earlier. After you left, she didn't touch me again. Hank was slapped by Liberty too. He was distressed as he said, Jessica, I won't let her touch you ever again. He then asked, what did she say to you? Jessica looked around. The two of them were standing on the sidewalk with many passers-by, but no one paid any attention to them. When she saw Hank's concerned eyes, she asked, Hank, do you want to see me suffer? Why would I want to see you suffer? I want to divorce Liberty because I don't want you to suffer anymore. Hank took her hand. Jessica, did she yell at you? I'll go in there and settle this with her. No, it's not that. Jessica pulled Hank back, who was about to enter the cafe. She said softly, Hank, I don't want to be Sunny's stepmother. Hank turned to look at her. Didn't you say that Sunny is cute? You said that you like Sunny very much and that you're willing to raise Sunny with me. Hank raised his voice a little. He was afraid that others would look at him, so he lowered his voice and said, Jessica, I know I'm putting you in a difficult position of being Sunny's stepmother before we're married. But Sunny is my son, my flesh and blood, so he must stay with us. Don't worry, I'll send Sunny back to my hometown so my parents will take care of him. My parents have also agreed to it, so he won't affect us. We can still have our privacy. Jessica was silent for a while before she said, Do you think I can't bear a child? I'll have my own child one day, so I'll definitely be biased toward my child because Sunny's not mine. I can't treat Sunny equally. Other people will also call me a vicious stepmother. Do you want me to be reproached by others? Your parents can help you take care of Sunny now, but they're getting older, so how many years can they care for Sunny? In the end, Sunny will still have to come back to us. Hank said nothing. Hank, let's not fight for Sunny's custody, okay? I really don't want to be a stepmother as soon as I marry you. If you give up on Sunny's custody, you just need to give $3,000 a month for child support. You don't have to do anything else and just watch as Liberty raises your son for you. Isn't that great? Sunny will always be your son, so it doesn't matter who takes custody of him. He'll still address you as his dad all the same when he grows up, as long as you pay for child support. He'll also fulfill his responsibilities as your son when you get older. You won't have to worry about so many things. Liberty said that if you give up on Sunny's custody, she won't ask for your help when Sunny goes to college or gets married. She'll bear all of those as his mother. That's a lot of money. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 518, Jessica pouted and said, Anyway, I don't want Sunny to share too much of your fatherly love with my future child. She did not want Hank to spend his money on Sunny. Jessica hoped that Hank's future income would be spent on their small family, her and her children. Liberty gave birth to Sunny, so she'll definitely do her best to raise him and educate him well. It'll be better for Sunny's development. If you fight for Sunny's custody, your parents will take care of him. Do you think your parents can educate Sunny well? A lot of grandparents spoil their grandchildren. Of course, if you want to see Sunny become someone who achieves nothing in the future, then forget what I said. I just think it's better for Sunny to follow Liberty. You're so busy with work, so how can you have time to teach Sunny? Children need a lot of attention and care. It takes a lot of effort to educate and nurture them. If Sunny didn't turn out to be successful, others will put the blame on you and me. They'll call me an evil stepmother, and that's why you don't care for Sunny too. I'm already suffering so much with you. Do you want me to bear more grievances? Hearing Jessica's words, Hank said in a tangled voice, I promised my parents that I'll take custody of Sunny. If he gave up on Sunny's custody, he would not know how to explain it to his parents when he returned home. Sunny is your son, not your parents' son, so only you can make this decision. If you give up on Sunny's custody, they're still Sunny's grandparents. They can still visit him whenever they want. Hank said nothing. He had no time to care and nurture Sunny. Jessica refused to resign and be a housewife after marriage like Liberty. If he sent Sunny back to his hometown for his parents to care for, Sunny would feel abandoned, which would be bad for Sunny's growth. Hank had never taken care of Sunny, but he still wanted the best for his son. Hank also hoped that Sunny would become successful in the future and make him proud. Liberty is now using the cafe owner's laptop to print the divorce agreement. If you're willing to give up on Sunny's custody, you can go through the divorce formalities this afternoon. Then you'll be single again, and we can be together openly. Hank, we're still young, and we'll have our own children in the future. We can even have 2 or 3 of them. The chances of Liberty getting married again are quite low with the way she looks right now. Sunny gives her the will to live, so you should allow her this as someone who used to love her. Hank was successfully coaxed by Jessica, so he decided to give up on Sunny's custody. He then considered his parents' feelings and said, You can go in and tell Liberty to give me another day to think about it. I need to convince my parents so they won't trouble Liberty. I'll transfer the money to her, as per her request tomorrow at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Then, we'll go to City Hall for the divorce procedures. Jessica thought that since it was only a day, she agreed and said, I'll go in and talk to her. Hank was convinced, so he believed he could also persuade his parents. As Jessica was going in, Liberty came out. She was holding 2 copies of the printed divorce papers with her name signed. and her fingerprints stamped on them. Liberty, Hank said in a deep voice, give me a day to convince my parents. Otherwise, they'll just bring trouble to you. They might even take Sonny away again. Wait for me at the entrance of the bank tomorrow at 2 o'clock. I'll divide the property according to your request, and then we'll go to City Hall to finalize the divorce. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 519. Liberty heard what Hank said. Although she was disappointed that they could not finalize the divorce right away, she still agreed to his arrangement since it was only another day's wait. She handed the 2 signed divorce agreements to Hank and said, "Take a look. If there's no problem, just sign your name." Hank took over the divorce agreement. In addition to the conditions she stated earlier, Liberty also promised that she would destroy all the evidence she had on the day of their divorce and promised that she would not take revenge on him. Hank was fine with it. He was just sad that he had to give Liberty more than $1 million and his son's custody. However, after some thought, Hank knew that he would earn the money back, so he just had to put up with it. "I'll sign it," Hank said in a deep voice. "See you tomorrow." Liberty nodded. Hank looked at her deeply for a moment before he hugged Jessica and prepared to leave. After taking 2 steps, Hank stopped and turned his head to ask, "Liberty, can you tell me who gave you all that evidence?" That person investigated everything that Hank did thoroughly and even had evidence of it. Hank was frightened whenever he thought that Liberty had someone like that to help her. Hank was threatened. Thus, he agreed to Liberty's divorce terms for the sake of his future and because he thought that Liberty and Knight have a backer. "Is that important? I promise that once we finalize the divorce, I'll give the evidence to you and won't keep any copies." Hank was helpless when Liberty refused to tell him. He just hugged Jessica and left. He did not walk far when he received a call from his boss, who said something on the phone that made him let go of Jessica. He said something to Jessica and the 2 ran to their car. They got in the car quickly and drove away. Liberty stood there and looked in the direction of Hank's car. After a long time, she turned her gaze away and took out her phone to call her sister. Saren. Liberty was in a good mood and said, "I've discussed it with Hank. He promised to divide the property according to my request. If everything goes according to plan, I'll also have custody of Sonny. Hank promised to go through the divorce formalities tomorrow afternoon." Liberty, is that true? That's great. I didn't expect you to negotiate with him so quickly. Did you show him the evidence? Serenity said, he won't compromise if I don't show him the evidence. He would even ask me to leave without a penny because I wanted to rush the divorce. Hank was ruthless when he wanted to be. Saren, are you still at the Wiltspoon Hotel? I saw your car when I went there to wait for Hank earlier. Serenity had invited Mrs. Stone and Alyssa to a meal. They were done eating but remained at the hotel because they stayed back and chatted about her mother. This was so that Mrs. Stone could understand her late sister's life as a wife and mother. When she heard this, Serenity said, "Liberty, why didn't you tell me when you saw my car? I would have gone downstairs to pick you up and we could have had lunch together." Liberty smiled and said, "I came to look for Hank after I had lunch. We'll have more opportunities to dine there in the future. It's more important to get rid of this scumbag Hank first. Did you and Mrs. Stone do a DNA test?" "Yup, we'll know the results in a few days." Liberty was silent for a while before she said, "So what if we know the results? Our mother passed away 15 years ago." She did not continue because she felt uncomfortable and wanted to cry. Liberty did not shed a single tear when she had to divorce Hank, but she could not help but cry when she thought about her mother. Serenity was also silent. Mrs. Stone is having a hard time accepting it. She has been looking for her sister for decades, and when she finally found a clue, her sister is no longer in this world. Alyssa said that her mother cried the entire day after she left your house yesterday. She didn't eat or drink. Alyssa and her brothers were worried sick. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 520. Liberty's tears suddenly streamed down her face. Her mother was unaware that her sister never gave up looking for her when she was alive. She did not get to reunite with her sister before she died. Saren, spend some time with Mrs. Stone. I'm going back to see Sonny. Liberty said as she suppressed the pain and quickly hung up the phone. She then squatted on the ground and covered her face to cry. Many passers-by looked at her, but no one stopped for her. The owner of the cafe saw Liberty and knew that Liberty had borrowed her laptop to print out a divorce agreement. She thought Liberty was upset because of the divorce, so she came out with a box of tissues. "Miss," the cafe owner patted Liberty on the shoulder. When Liberty looked up at her, she handed the tissues to Liberty and comforted her. "He doesn't care about you anymore, so you should let him go. That way you'll feel better and you can start a new life. If you're sad, cry it all out. You'll feel better afterward. Thank you." Liberty stood up, took the tissue, and wiped away her tears. She choked up and said, "I don't regret leaving a stingy man who abused me and cheated on me. I'm not crying for him. I just thought of my parents, who died in a car accident 15 years ago." The cafe owner patted Liberty's shoulder sympathetically again. What a pitiful woman. Some people who were in their 50s and 60s still had parents living, while some lost their parents when they were young. No one could understand the kind of pain and regret these kids felt when they thought about how they could never repay their late parents. "I'm fine. I'll get going. My son is still waiting for me at home." "Stay strong, girl. There's a rainbow after the rain. You can do this." The stranger's comfort warmed Liberty's heart. There were still many good people in this world. After thanking the cafe owner, Liberty walked to her e-bike and was about to leave. "Liberty!" A hoarse and somewhat familiar voice called out to her. Liberty looked around and saw a car parked on the opposite side of the street. The person inside the car wound down the window. Only then did Liberty notice that it was Duncan. She thought, why did I bump into him? Liberty felt that she was a little unlucky today. Wait, she did not hit his car this time, so why did she think that she was unlucky? Liberty, who came to her senses, suppressed the urge to ride away, and she waved to Duncan in response to his greeting. Somehow, Duncan got out of the car and strode across the street. Liberty was speechless and thought, I didn't hit his car, right? I parked on this side and his car is across the street. Did time and space collide? Duncan quickly walked in front of Liberty and put one hand on Liberty's bike. She glanced at his big hand and thought, is he trying to prevent me from running away? Didn't you take the day off to take care of your son? Duncan asked. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 521, Lingfei 521. Liberty nodded and answered, I took a few days off. Sonny was frightened, so I wanted to stay with him. Then, what are you doing here? Where's your son? Liberty was speechless. Should she tell the truth? Duncan looked around, but he did not see the strong and smart little boy. However, the boy was afraid of him. Every time he saw Duncan, he was so afraid that he would burrow into Liberty's arms as if Duncan was the devil. Sonny is taking a nap at home. Mrs. Lane is watching him, so I came out to run some errands. Duncan hummed and asked, what kind of errands? When Liberty hesitated to speak, he laughed and said, if you can't tell me, then forget it. I was just being nosy because I happened to see you passing by and remembered that you took leave. Well, carry on with your business. I'll leave now. Duncan retracted the large hand that was on Liberty's bike, turned around and left. Take care, Mr. Lewis, said Liberty. Duncan did not look back but raised his hand in goodbye. The two went their separate ways. In the hotel, Serenity spent a long time talking with Audrey and Alyssa. Both the mother and daughter only left when Daryl called them. Serenity sent them off at the entrance of the hotel before she turned and walked toward her own car. However, when she turned around, she saw a group of people coming out of the hotel. Amongst the group were two people she recognized. It was Zachary and her brother-in-law, Callum. She seemed to have seen the other one before, but his appearance did not ring any bells. The last time she saw him was when he was with Zachary at Beans and Cream. They should be here to socialize with clients since there were several people that Serenity had never seen before. Following them were several tall men in black. Were they bodyguards, or were they also employees of York Corporation? Zachary did not see his wife at first, but his bodyguards did. They were responsible for clearing the way for him, so they habitually scanned the surroundings to see if there were any suspicious people around as soon as they came out. Then, they saw the missus standing not far away, looking straight at Zachary. The group of bodyguards instantly felt their souls leave their bodies. All of them unanimously thought of two words. Oh no, Mrs. was looking right at them. Zachary's identity was going to be exposed. Mr. Zachary, it's Mrs. The person who reacted the quickest was Jim. He quickly notified Zachary and turned around to go back into the hotel. He had to hide. Mrs. remembered his appearance. In her eyes, he was just a substitute driver. If he followed Zachary, she would discover that he was lying. Zachary, Callum, and Josh heard what Jim said while their clients could not hear it clearly. The moment Callum saw his sister-in-law, he cursed in his heart. Zachary said we wouldn't bump into her, but we ended up bumping into her. We really can't speak in absolutes. Otherwise, we'll end up jinxing ourselves. Josh stopped in his tracks and deliberately let Zachary walk in front. He pulled away a little, afraid that he would get swept up by the storm. Zachary was the calmest of them all. That was because Audrey and Alyssa were not around. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 522, he could still act. Josh and Callum, you two accompany the clients back to the company. I'll go over and talk to Serenity. Zachary instructed the two in a low voice, then walked toward Serenity in large strides. The bodyguards naturally did not dare follow him. Did Mr. York see someone he knows? The few clients watched in amazement as they saw Zachary walk toward an unfamiliar woman. After all, unless it was family, he usually kept women at least 3 meters away from him. Yeah, they're acquaintances. Josh smiled and ushered the clients toward their cars. Seeing that Josh did not plan to elaborate, they knew their place and stopped asking Saren. Zachary walked up to Serenity and stretched out his arms to straighten her jacket. What are you doing here? Did you come here just to wait for me because you knew I was meeting clients for business here? The rain stopped at noon, but it was still cold. Serenity saw the throng of men in suits getting in their luxury cars and driving away. She asked with a smile, "Are those your colleagues? I invited Mrs. Stone and Alyssa to have a meal here. I didn't expect to bump into you." Zachary looked at the luxury cars that were driving away and said, "Yeah, they're my colleagues. Several clients we met today were notable bosses from other companies, and our company attached great importance to them, so many of my colleagues came to meet them today." "Where's Mrs. Stone?" Mr. Stone called her, and she left with Alyssa. "Zachary, I did a DNA test with Mrs. Stone. The results will be out in a few days." Zachary's dark eyes flickered slightly, but the expression on his face remained unchanged. He said warmly, "Let's wait for the results. For now, we'll pretend that nothing happened." Serenity sighed. "I can't pretend that nothing has happened. I was worried that Alyssa would suspect that I'm trying to climb the social ladder, but it's very complicated now. I just wish my mom was still alive." Zachary reached out and embraced her by the shoulders, holding her while walking toward her car. "Although your mom is no longer here, if Mrs. Stone is your aunt, it'll be great if you can reconnect with her. It'll be a comfort to Mrs. Stone as well." The greatest fear when finding the whereabouts of a loved one was when you ended up being the only person left in the family who was still alive. That was the most painful kind of conclusion there was. Although his mother-in-law was gone, she left behind the two sisters. If Audrey could still reconnect with her nieces, her heart that was searching for her sister could more or less be soothed. "Yeah, I feel better now. Are you going to sit in my car?" "What? Does my wife not want to drive her husband to work?" Zachary said in a rare flirtatious tone after stuffing her into the car. He leaned into the car and sniffed the side of her cheek. Serenity laughed. "Sure, get in and I'll take you to work." He said, "I'll drive." He went around the car and got into the driver's seat. He then asked while fastening the seatbelt, "Who's watching the store?" "I closed the store for the day. The students were having their finals in the past 2 days, and their winter holidays will most likely start next week. Once they're on holidays, stores like mine with students as their main market will have to rest. We'll close up early for the New Year's." Zachary said, "Your online store won't close that early for the New Year's, right?" "No, but even if I stop shipping temporarily, I'll still be very busy. There are too many orders, and I don't have enough in stock. I'll take advantage of the New Year's holiday to knit more. I'll be able to ship everything out after the New Year," Zachary admonished. "Don't overwork yourself, especially these days. Don't sit for long periods of time or you'll hurt your back easily." Serenity thought of how her waist felt uncomfortable from sitting for too long when Aunt Flo came to visit. Her heart warmed as she heard this, and she gave him a hum. Jim, who was hiding back in the hotel, only dared come out when he saw Zachary leaving with Serenity. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 523. Earlier, when the entourage appeared, Serenity did not notice Jim leaving to the back of the hotel to hide. She also had no idea that the man sitting beside her, who had been caring for her and gave her all the tingly warmth in the cold, was actually a superb actor. She said to Zachary, "My sister called earlier." She and Hank had agreed on the conditions for the divorce. "How did it go?" All the properties under Hank's name will be divided equally with my sister. She's not asking for the house and car, but he has to compensate an additional sum of money to her. Sonny's custody will belong to my sister, and he has to pay $3,000 per month for child support. His request is that my sister will give him the evidence against him, including all copies she made. He also made her promise not to retaliate against him after the divorce. What did your sister say then? She agreed, but she only promised that she would not retaliate against him herself. She's giving us the chance to do it instead. I really want Hank to lose his job and end up with nothing. It's best that he becomes worthless after marrying Jessica. The saying that poor and lowly couples have everything in the world to lose. Once he has no money, can the adulterers still get along as well as they do now? Also, his parents and sister are equally incorrigible. Jessica isn't someone as easy to talk down to as my sister. I want to see them fight it out. That'll be satisfying. Serenity was looking forward to her scumbag brother-in-law and his family suffering. Second brother-in-law to be a wife-doting maniac. I want them come true. She's already its many things had happened lately, so it was normal for Liberty to lose hope that after Liberty left Hank, she would thoroughly turn over and refuse to compensate my sister for the money she spent on the renovation. When they complete their divorce, no other choice. We'll just smash the works done in his house. The house was not furnished when he bought it, so even break down the walls, the doors, windows, and many appliances were also bought by my sister. I'll have them all dismantled and moved the furniture as second hand than we're sisters. Their thought processes were the Zachary felt that the two sisters did a good job. They could not let Hank take advantage of them and silently take such a big loss for nothing. He said, "Don't worry about that. There are many young and strong men in my company. I'll arrange for a bunch of them to bring demolition tools and smash the interior." Thank you, Zachary. Serenity was sincerely grateful to her husband, who was like Superman. No matter what difficulties she faced, he would help her deal with them. Without a doubt, someone who could rise up to become a manager in York Corporation was indeed capable. You're being courteous with me again. We're husband and wife. Your troubles are mine too. Helping you is the same as helping myself. Stop thanking me for every little thing. Serenity smiled. Okay. Then, will your sister rent a house or move in with us after she moves out? Serenity said, I'll ask what she wants. Even if we're willing to take her in, she also has her pride. She already feels that she owes us too much now. If she lives with us, she'll be under more pressure. Zachary nodded. If she wants to rent a room, we'll help her find an apartment which has a better environment and stronger security. It's best if it's close to. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 524. Liberty is still going through the divorce and hasn't completely secured her job yet. Let's help her pay for the rent in the meantime. Zachary was more than willing to simply hand over a house for his sister-in-law and her son to live in. Liberty was the person closest to his wife, so he would not mistreat her. However, he could not do that now. Thinking of the sisters' characters, even if he gave Liberty a house, she would not accept it. My sister will get more than $1 million worth of assets from Hank. She won't let us pay the rent for her. The sisters supported each other, but they would not take it for granted. Both the sisters would not pluck the moon from the sky for each other to go overboard in providing help. They simply respected and supported each other where necessary. Zachary did not say anything. Soon, they arrived at York Corporation. Zachary stopped the car and looked sideways at Serenity. Serenity was looking at him too and grinned. We're at your office. Shouldn't you be getting off now? What are you looking at me for? Zachary continued to watch her. Serenity thought for a moment, leaned over and wrapped her arms around his neck. She pulled him closer and kissed him on the lips. He was not satisfied with her feathery kiss and took the initiative to deepen the kiss. He reluctantly stepped out of the car after the kiss. The couple's feelings for each other were growing by the day. Zachary, who had never experienced love before, wanted to transform into a piece of gum and firmly stick to Serenity, never separating from her. Unfortunately, he could not turn into gum. Don't go back to the store since you've closed it. Go home and have a good rest. I still have to rush my orders, so I'll go to the store to get them done. Besides, the students need to buy stuff when they get out of school in the evening. Exam season was around the corner, so students had to buy stationery for that and for winter vacation homework too. Nowadays, in addition to the homework assigned by the teachers, students needed to buy another set of workbooks for winter vacation, which her store was stocked up with. If she did not open the store, the students would buy them from other bookstores, and she would miss out on a lot of profit. Zachary was silent. Well then, I'll take care of myself, so you hurry up and get back to work. He silently got out of the car. His heart was stuffy. He was always the one who was reluctant to leave her. It was always her urging him to go in the game of love. The first person who falls first is the loser. That saying was true indeed. He was completely defeated. Thanks to his thick skin, he shamelessly stole her agreement, and along with his copy, he burned them to ashes and flushed them down the drain. Otherwise, if she flashed the agreement, it would be like slapping his face silly. After he got out of the car, Serenity also got out and said, "I'll watch you go in before I go." Zachary felt much better upon hearing that. She was still concerned about him. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 525. Feeling Serenity's concern for him, Zachary said in a warm voice, "I have a dinner party tonight, so I won't be home early. You don't have to wait for me. Go to bed early, but sleep in my room." His handsome face turned slightly red as he said the last sentence. That was because he remembered how he was the one who told her that his room was off limits and had forbidden her from entering his room. Now, he was the one asking her to enter his room. Serenity smiled. "Sure, I'll leave the door unlocked for you. Hurry up and go in. Don't stand here in the cold wind." Zachary turned around reluctantly and went into the building. Serenity watched his handsome figure walk farther away before driving away. After entering the office building, Zachary saw Josh standing there, looking at him with a signal. Zachary was speechless. This gossiper. He shot a side glance at Josh and walked straight ahead. Josh did not care about how Zachary looked at him, and he followed suit. After entering the elevator, he teased, "Zachary, you look like you want to be a piece of gum now so you can stick by your wife's side 24/7. Zachary looked askance at him. "A bachelor will never know how sweet and happy I feel now." Josh was speechless. "Ms. Socks has a cold and isn't feeling well. Go see her if you have the time." "I want to, but her Moyne is with her. We haven't reached the point of meeting each other's parents yet, so I won't go. I'll go if she's in the store now, though." Josh was motivated by his best friend's happiness and decided to pursue Jasmine. After all, she was the first girl he was interested in. Jasonine's willingness to go out of her way to do things made him very fond of her. "Zachary, why don't you help me ask your wife if Ms. Socks has returned to the store?" Josh was also a man of action. Once he had a thought, he would act on it. He could not go up to her door to visit her, but he could go to her store. Zachary ignored him. Josh nudged him and said, "Hey, you were the one who matched us. Why aren't you supporting me when I'm trying to take action?" Zachary glared at him and said grumpily, "My wife just drove away. She must still be on the road now. It'll distract her if I call her while she's driving. It's too dangerous." Josh opened his mouth but had no way to refute. The elevator brought them to the top floor. When the door opened, Zachary strode out and Josh hurriedly followed him. "Do you have nothing else to do? He follows me around every day for gossip. I have time to spare for a little break. I'll go back and slave away for you after you call and help me ask." Zachary could not help but grinned. "You say that as if I'm a slave driver." The two entered the office together. Of course, Josh would not wait around and do nothing. They talked shop again. "By the way, you asked me to terminate the business with Low Enterprise, right? Mr. Low himself called me earlier." Low Enterprise reacted quickly. Most importantly, the party that broke off the engagement was York Corporation. In Wiltspoon, those who could cooperate with York Corporation were quite powerful companies. It was a win-win deal for both parties. However, York Corporation suddenly cut off the business dealings. Even if it was just their respective subsidiary companies, Mr. Lowe was still alarmed. He did not dare call Zachary directly, so he called Josh instead. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 526. What did you say to him? What can I say? I can't tell him bluntly that his successor is trying to steal your woman from you. This was caused by your personal matters, so you deal with it yourself. I'll ask Mr. Chaplin to squeeze in a time for you to meet with Mr. Lowe. Zachary said indifferently, "Save it for after the New Year's. I'm going on a business trip in 2 days." Josh froze, suspecting he lied misheard. You're going on a business trip. Where to? Can you bear to leave your wife? Your relationship happens to be improving now. Zachary was silent for a long time before saying, "There's no harm in telling you this. The whole city will know sooner." There was finally gossip to share. As the representative of all gossipers, Josh's ears immediately perked up. He grinned and asked, "What happened?" "The sister who Mrs. Stone has been looking for is most likely my mother-in-law." Josh paused before saying, "You have a mother-in-law? I mean, didn't your mother-in-law die a long time ago?" "Yeah, my mother-in-law died more than 10 years ago, but what's stopping her from having a sister?" Josh choked. Everyone in Wiltspoon's upper class was aware of Audrey's search for her sister. Clive once came to Julian for help, but Julian felt like there were not many leads. Furthermore, he was in York Corporation working for Zachary, and Clive was Zachary's rival. Thus, Julian refused Clive's request. "If your mother-in-law is Mrs. Stone's sister, doesn't that make your wife Mrs. Stone's niece? Then you'll be Mrs. Stone's nephew-in-law, and Alyssa still loves you to death." After Josh worked it out, he slapped his thigh and burst out into laughter. "Ha ha ha ha, Zachary, I want to see how you clean up this mess." Zachary extended his hand to grab anything within reach and threw them at Josh. "Get out. I'll go out after I'm done laughing. Zachary, just come clean with your wife when you go back tonight." Josh did not understand why Zachary was still hesitating at this point. The couple's feelings were warming up anyway, and that proved Serenity's character passed his test. "I'm afraid." He was afraid of losing Serenity if he confessed. "Wow, I never thought I'd see the day you'll be afraid of anything. Serves you right." Zachary glared at his best friend with a dark expression. "So, you want to go for a business trip and delay it however long you can? The truth will come to light sooner or later. If your another-in-law isn't related to Mrs. Stone, that's okay. If they're really sisters, then are you never going to meet your aunt-in-law for the rest of your life? Or do you not have confidence that your wife will stay?" Zachary thought of Serenity's temperament and nodded with difficulty. "I can't say for sure." Josh looked at him and smiled. "That's why I really admire Serenity. I'm a big fan of hers. It's your fault for being stubborn. You clearly like her, but you refuse to admit it. If not for your grandmother, you'd still be jealous all day every day and smother yourself." Zachary paused before he said, "I'm inexperienced in love." He was at a loss when it came to this emotion. He wanted to be close to Serenity, but he also rejected her. It was a dilemma. "I'll go on a business trip for a few days. When I return, it'll be time for Ben Young Johnson's wedding." He would make use of this period while he was away to think hard about the scenarios under which he would confess everything to Serenity. He would think of a way of telling her so she would not get too angry. If he had known that he would end up falling in love with her, he would never have made that decision. However, at that time, they did not know each other, and he even misunderstood her and was guarded against her. Concealing his identity to examine her character was the best way. He had to be grateful that he did not abuse her. Otherwise, he would end up suffering greatly in the end. Josh could also understand why Zachary made that decision in the beginning. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 527. If Serenity had known from the beginning that Zachary was the heir of the York family, she would not have married him so suddenly. It could be said that the entire York family, starting from Grandma May, hid the truth from Serenity. Josh spat in his heart. The whole family are liars. Even if Grandma May wanted a granddaughter-in-law, this was not the way. Josh suddenly felt distressed when he remembered that he did not confess his identity to Jasmine. He decided that the next time he saw her, he would tell her that he was actually from the Bucham family, lest he followed in Zachary's footsteps. "Well, you do you. I'm not you, so I can't make decisions for you, but your wife's temper is stubborn. If you don't handle it well, you two might end up separating." Zachary's face went as white as a sheet. He was afraid that Serenity would break it off with him. That was why he wanted to wait until their feelings were deeper and she was reluctant to leave him. Only then would it be appropriate for him to confess. In fact, he had tested her before on this, but she did not believe that he was a billionaire. If he confessed now, she might just pack up and leave. "Don't worry too much. Serenity has feelings for you too, but too many things are happening now, so she hasn't had time to fall in love with you properly. You should take the initiative and put in more effort. A human's heart is made of flesh. She'll be able to forgive you if you move her heart. Besides, she would be able to understand the decision you made back then. After all, you were strangers at that time." Josh comforted Zachary. He had known Zachary for many years, but this was the first time he saw Zachary go pale because he was afraid of losing a woman. Zachary sighed. I'll try my best. So, do you still want to go on that business trip? If you do, I'll give you the opportunity to do so. There are some important things that need to be handled. By either you or me? I'll go. Let me think hard about what to do to make Saren less angry. Josh smiled. Then I can take a break. You owe me a lot of vacation time. Take a break if you want to. Let Callum take up more tasks. Zachary felt bad too for always using Josh like a slave driver himself. Beep beep, Zachary's phone rang. He took out his phone and saw that it was a message from Serenity. The lines on his face softened. Josh had a sharp eye and instantly guessed that it was a message from Serenity. He jokingly said, "One message from your wife is enough to make a snowy day turn sunny. Zachary, you're hopeless." Zachary ignored Liam. Serenity sent him a message telling him that she was back in the store. He immediately called her. She picked up. Quickly, I've sent you a message to tell you that I'm back, so you don't have to worry. Why did you still call me anyway? Won't it affect your work? It's fine. I needed to get some water and wanted to hear your voice. Serenity laughed over the phone and said, "We just saw each other a while ago. I want to stick to you like a piece of gum and be with you every day." Josh was speechless. Should I go out first? Listening to Zachary saying sweet nothings is causing goosebumps all over my skin. Serenity was also shocked by Zachary's honeyed words and could not help but say, "Zachary, are you all right? Your words are, I'm not very used to it." Maybe she was used to his serious appearance. She was really not used to hearing him say such mushy words. Zachary paused and said, "Yeah, I'm not used to saying stuff like this either." He would stop picking up those cringy expressions from other people and simply get along with her just as the person that he was. Yep, I got goosebumps. Zachary complained to his grandmother in his heart, "You always nag me for not knowing how to say sweet nothings, but look, Serenity doesn't like it when I say mushy words." Stranger Marriage, Chapter 528. In fact, Zachary felt that actions spoke louder than words. It was easier to prove his love for her with concrete actions than to say sweet nothings with his mouth. Of course, if Serenity liked to listen to muscly words, then he would learn no matter how cringy it was. Josh stood up and leaned over to remind his friend in a whisper, "Ask about Ms. Socks." Zachary pushed him away lightly with one hand. After chatting for a while longer with Serenity over the phone, he helped Josh ask, "Saren, will Ms. Socks be back at the store this afternoon? My colleague was thinking of going to see her because she's not feeling well." Serenity replied, "Jas is not coming over. I told her to rest at home and come back when her fever was completely gone. Does your colleague want to see her? He can call her directly and ask her out. Ms. Socks is sick, and the temperature dropped today, so it's even colder. My colleague will blame himself if her condition worsens after he asks her out. Send me a message when she goes back to work. I'll talk to my colleague." Sure, Zachary, is there hope for those two? It was Serenity's first time playing matchmaker, and she hoped the result would turn out well. "Ms. Socks hasn't shared with you whether she has taken a liking to my colleague yet, right? My colleague feels a spark with Ms. Socks and wants to try dating her with marriage in mind. I haven't had the time to ask Jas in the past few days, but I'll ask her someday. She's a great girl, so it's only expected that your colleague likes her." In Serenity's eyes, Jasmine was truly great. Zachary laughed. He did not tell his beloved wife that Josh was interested in Jasmine because the latter got famous after lying down at Mrs. Dawson's birthday party. "Zachary, I'll get going now. I need to rush." "My orders?" "Sure, don't overwork yourself. Go home around 8 in the evening." Zachary admonished, "Your man has the money to support the family, and you? I don't need you to support me. I can support myself. However, I won't refuse if you hand your money to me to save." After witnessing how her sister's marriage went from endearing to shattered, Serenity was cautious and insisted on financial independence after marriage. She would not believe nonsense like, "I'll support you," that comes out of a man's mouth. It was better to self-reliant than to depend on others. Let's leave it at that. I'm hanging up now. Serenity was worried the sky would turn dark if they continued chatting any longer. She quickly ended the call. Zachary, who got hung up on by his beloved wife, reluctantly moved his phone away from his ear. He even rubbed the phone with his hand. "You're in a bind, aren't you?" The man across from him teased him. "You won't get the chance even if you wanted to." Josh was silent. "Just you wait. When I manage to catch Ms. Socks, I'll show off our love and feed you PDA every single day. I'm not single. I don't need to envy you. Josh choked. Ms. Socks is not back at the store. You can leave now. Zachary stuffed the phone back into his pants pocket and got ready to work. In the past, he would never waste time on feelings, but now he was eating his own words. Knock, knock. Come in. Mr. Chaplin pushed open the door, holding an exquisite bag in his hand. Josh looked curiously as Mr. Chaplin brought the bag closer. He handed the bag to Zachary and said, Mr. York, old Mrs. York sent this over and asked me to pass it on to you. Zachary understood at once. Grandma May had said that she would give him a pair of diamond rings from her jewelry vault and present them to him and Serenity. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 529, Zachary accepted the bag from Mr. Chaplin. Inside contained 2 red brocade boxes. He took one box out. Josh was not stupid and knew that Grandma May retrieved this from her private treasury to please Serenity. He envied Zachary for having a good grandmother who was worried about his marriage. Grandma May was the pillar of the York family and was respected by everyone. No one would stop her if she arranged for a sudden marriage like the one between Zachary and Serenity. Josh wanted a handful of grandmothers like that. Unfortunately, his grandmother passed away. I'll go back to work. Josh did not want to be further provoked by Louis' best friend again. There were some things that should not be envied. He stood up and left the office with Mr. Chaplin. Zachary looked at the 2 diamond rings that his Nana had sent him and took out his cell phone to call her. Nana, I'll buy these 2 rings from you. How can I accept wedding rings as a gift from you? Grandma May laughed. Sure, since you're my grandson, I'll give you a discount. 1 diamond ring costs $1, so you can pay me $2 in total. Nana, Zachary shouted in exasperation. If Saren discovers the price, she would suspect I bought knock-offs from a roadside stall in the night market. Grandma May was amused and said, Fine. Look at the rings yourself and give me however much you want. I'm fine with anything. When she were to be promoted to become a great-grandmother in the future, the money given to her by her grandson would be rewarded to Serenity. The money would then still belong to the young couple. Thank you, Nana. What do you mean? By thank you, it means whatever you want it to mean. Grandma May was pleased and hung up the phone happily. When one was in a happy mood, one would be energetic in everything. Time would also fly by quickly. Lunch seemed just a while ago, but it was dinner time in the blink of an eye. Hank deliberately put off all social engagements tonight and drove home alone to talk to his parents about his divorce formalities with Liberty that was taking place tomorrow afternoon. His parents were just about to have dinner when he got home. Hank, why are you back? Olivia heard the sound of the car and came out while holding her plate. She ate as she walked, and when she saw her son, she was surprised and asked with concern, Have you eaten? I haven't eaten, Mom. Is there enough left for me? Hank got out of the car with the copies of the evidence he got from Liberty and walked toward his mother. Why are you eating only now? I don't feel hungry since I have nothing else to do, so I don't want to eat too early. I'll go grab a plate for you. Olivia entered the house with her son, put her plate on the table, and went into the kitchen to prepare his portion of dinner. Mr. Brown glared at his son. What are you doing back here? How is Sonny? Have you ever cared about him? Let's eat first, Dad. I have something to tell you two later. Hank was afraid his parents would not be able to eat if he told them about it now. What's that you've brought back? Mr. Brown glanced at the yellow manila envelope. Hank smiled and did not answer. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 530. Mr. Brown had a hunch. It must be related to the divorce with Liberty. Olivia brought the cutlery and served her son food. You didn't tell me in advance, so I didn't cook for you. This was supposed to be for the dog, but you can have it instead. I'll cook some pasta for you later if you're still hungry. I'll be full after eating this, Mom. From the moment he walked in, Hank let his mother serve him food and even set the table for him with cutlery ready. He was used to Leah's mother doing this. After the family of three finished their meal, Hank handed the manila folder to his father. What is this? Mr. Brownie was suspicious, but he reached out and took the envelope. He opened it and took out a stack of papers and photos from inside. Olivia took a peek too. The husband and wife frowned as they looked at it. Hank, you kept so much money? Olivia was shocked that her son had so much money. Mr. Brown frowned and asked his son, Did Liberty give you this? Hank nodded. What does she want? She knows all the assets in my possession. She brought this evidence to me when she came to file for divorce. I'll have to share my assets with her equally now. Mr. Brown's expression was unpleasant, although he did not know how much money his son actually had. He knew that his son had his guard up against Liberty for a long time. Everything has to be divided equally with her. Olivia whispered, "Doesn't that mean splitting nearly $1 million with her?" "It's more than $1 million. Olivia's heart ached. "If I had known, I'd have given her the $200,000 at first." Olivia slapped her son. "Hank, how could you not have told us about something this big? If knew you were hiding so much money, I would have let you give Liberty that $200,000. Then you wouldn't be losing so much now." "It's useless, Mom. Liberty won't let me go that easily. Don't forget what she used to do. She's more ruthless than anyone when she wants to be." After Hank's parents saw the evidence that was used to threaten Lim, Hank took out the divorce agreement and handed it to his father. "Dad, this is the divorce agreement Liberty drafted. We both already signed it. We've made an appointment to go to City Hall tomorrow afternoon. I've decided to give up custody for Sonny. I'll let Liberty take him away, but it doesn't affect your visitation rights to Sonny. Liberty promised that she won't stop us from seeing him." Mr. Brown wanted to tear up the divorce agreement after reading it. Hank reacted quickly and snatched it back. "There's no point tearing it, Dad. Liberty and I already made a deal. I came back tonight to tell you that this was what I promised her, so don't go looking for trouble with her later. Let us split amicably." If not for fear that his parents would go to Liberty and start a fight out of anger, Hank would have gone through with the divorce procedures that afternoon itself. Mr. Brown was just about to slap Hank across the face, but Olivia held his hand down just as he raised it. "Hank, what did I tell you? Sonny is the Brown family's grandson. I told you to fight for Sonny's custody no matter what, but you actually gave up on it." Mr. Brown pointed at Hank and condemned him. "If Liberty knows you transferred away your assets, then so be it. If she wants you to split your assets with her, then so be it. But Sonny has to come back to us." Olivia said, "Hank, I don't agree with you divorcing Liberty anymore. This divorce is too costly. Don't divorce her anymore. Break it off with that Yates girl and live a good life with Liberty from now on. Look, you'll have to lose more than $1 million if you go through with this, and I'll lose my grandson too. It's a lose-lose for us. You can't divorce her. You're not allowed to divorce her." Hank smiled bitterly. "Mom, Liberty and I have already fallen through to this point. Do you think we can still turn back? If we don't settle for divorce, she'll sue instead. Sonny is only 2 years old. Children his age are usually granted custody to the mothers. She kept the evidence of Matthew beating Sonny up and having him sent to the hospital. We won't win if she files a lawsuit. It's better to part ways amicably. At least we can still nod and say hello to each other if our paths cross in the future." There was no need to become enemies. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 531, Gu Lingfei 531, the fight was just kids being kids. Plus, it was an accident. We will take good care of Sonny and keep him from harm's way when we get custody. Mrs. Brown heart-itchingly said, "Hank, don't go with the divorce. I can't take it." It never crossed her mind that fights between children could influence decisions on a child's custody. Despite Mrs. Brown's old age, she had never seen anyone take their divorce to court. In the separations that she came across, the women would pack their things and walk out, leaving the house, car, and children to the men. Sure, it was just a fight between children, but people would see Sonny living with us as whether it's conducive to his growth and well-being. Hank patiently persuaded his parents. "Mom, I don't love Liberty anymore. It's not like Liberty would take me back either. You can't make things work just by force. It would be hard for her and me at this rate. Besides, Liberty's willing to settle. The divorce is going to happen. I've made up my mind, and I only came back to let you know." Jessica was right. It was best if Hank made the decision. For the matter between him and Liberty, it was good enough that he let his parents in the loops. With the sobs underway, Mrs. Brown smacked her husband. "Say something, old man. No, I must give Chelsea a call and get her to talk some sense into you." She was about to give her daughter a call when her husband stopped her. "Telling Chelsea will only make the matter worse." Mr. Brown peevishly remarked before asking his son, "Is divorce the only way? Are those pictures that big of a threat to you?" He understood his son best. His son would not compromise and go with Liberty's way unless he was under threat. "Dad, my career is done for if Liberty hands over the stuff to my boss. It doesn't sound like a bad deal if I can end a loveless marriage and safeguard my future." Mr. Brown fell silent. Mrs. Brown lashed out. Liberty went too far. What will she gain by destroying your future? She's trying to get back at me since I didn't go easy on her. I lose out far worse than her because she has nothing to lose. Mrs. Brown cursed her heart out. She went from criticizing Liberty for going overboard, chiding her son for his failure to keep it in his pants, to blasting Jessica about being the other woman and coming in between her son's marriage. Now her son and daughter-in-law were splitting and dividing the estate. Mom, it's not Jessica's fault. I fell for her first. Hank could not stand her mother speaking ill of Jessica. His feelings for Jessica grew before hers did for him. Mom, Dad, think about it. I wouldn't be enjoying this sort of income if I were to work in another company. Although I'll feel the pinch for giving Liberty $1 million, I can regain the amount and more with my job still intact. Liberty will petition the court for divorce if I don't agree to her demands. She'll get whatever she demands anyway, but I'll lose my job and my reputation in the industry. It'll be hard for me to look for another job. I agreed to Liberty's terms after careful consideration. Don't worry about Sonny. Sonny will still be your grandson after the divorce. Just let Liberty know when you want to see him. She's fine with visitations. Mr. and Mrs. Brown held their tongues. Her son's career was more important than anything else. They knew it had not been easy for their son, as he had worked his way up from a measly office staff to his current role as a manager. The side income he earned in a month was the annual income of many. It took a while before Mr. Brown solemnly said, "There's nothing more we can say since you've already made up your mind." Stranger Marriage, Chapter 532, Mrs. Brown grabbed the divorce paperwork for another look, feeling the pain every time she read the line on the payout to Liberty. I thought the estate was split evenly. The amount doesn't seem right. Liberty's relinquishing her rights to the house and car, so I need to make it up to her monetarily. Altogether, that's the total payout. Mrs. Brown replied after a pause, "What about the renovation?" "Cost for the house?" Hank answered, "It's not included. I've said it before, I won't compensate her for that." Although feeling a little better, Mrs. Brown said, "The renovation was tens of thousands of dollars. I guess we benefited a little since she didn't ask you for the renovation cost." It did not hurt as bad anymore for the money they were losing. "Hank, how did Liberty collect these photos?" Mr. Brown believed his daughter-in-law did not have such means. "Did someone help her?" "I asked her, but she wouldn't say, nor did she know who helped her. The person's pretty good at gathering information. To me, that's a walking time bomb. Dad, I'm scared, so I gave in to her demands." "Having gotten the whole picture," Mrs. Brown uttered, "could Serenity and her husband be behind this? Liberty didn't show the evidence when something happened to Sonny, so it can only mean that she didn't have it then. However, she managed to gather the evidence in a short time since she somehow produced the documents a few days later. Although Liberty has a lot of relatives, none of them are capable of pulling it off. Don't worry too much about it, Mom. Everything will be fine so long as we meet Liberty's requests. She made it clear on the divorce papers that she will not act out in retaliation after the divorce. Mr. and Mrs. Brown fell silent once more. Hank looked at the time and said to his parents, "Mom, Dad, I need to get back. I have work tomorrow. I'll take leave in the afternoon to go through the paperwork." His parents were without a word. Hank sat for a bit before getting up to leave. Once he was gone, Mrs. Brown told her husband, "Are we just going to let them go through with the divorce, old man? Can't they stay together?" By not going down the divorce route, the estate would not be split, their grandson would still be theirs, and their son and daughter-in-law would still be married. Hank has decided. What else can we do? Stop the divorce? They'll start the divorce proceedings tomorrow afternoon unless Liberty changes her mind. After much thought, Mrs. Brown said, "I'll go talk to Liberty and convince her. If that doesn't work, I'll look for Serenity. I have a feeling that Serenity is her sister's pillar of support in this. I'll try and persuade them out of the divorce. I can't stand it. It's so upsetting. It's so easy for other people to go through a divorce. Why does our son have to take a big hit when it's his turn?" It was over $1 million, for goodness sake. The amount was enough to pay the down payment for a house in a bustling city. Mr. Brown sighed. "What's the point of regret now? You and Chelsea are to blame for Hank's undoing." It took Mrs. Brown a while to find her words. "You're only saying that in hindsight as if you're blameless. It's not like I can predict things will end up like this after they get married and have a kid together." Mr. and Mrs. Brown were really friendly and embraced Liberty. letting Liberty know that her in-laws were good people before the wedding. Liberty knew Hank for a long time, and the Browns had shown their good nature over the years. It never occurred to Liberty that her in-laws would reveal their ugly side after she walked down the aisle. Do you think people nowadays are like those from our generation? Mrs. Brown was speechless. No, she must try to fix it. Mrs. Brown immediately sent a text message to her daughter, inviting the latter to go into the city together tomorrow. As Chelsea was not in a good mood, she replied to her mother, "Mom, I'm having a tough time at work now, so I can't take off tomorrow. You should go with Dad." Stranger Marriage, Chapter 533, Chelsea said she's having problems at work. I wonder what happened. I thought she was doing well. What changed? Mrs. Brown mumbled as she swiftly tapped the call button to connect to her daughter. During the call, Chelsea restlessly uttered, "I don't know what's going on, Mom. I have a feeling the people at work are out to get me. They have a bone to pick in everything I do. Not one good thing happened the whole day. Just let the divorce go through if Hank wants it, Mom. Your son is a great man. He'll have no problems finding another wife. God knows where Liberty found dirt on your brother, and she got enough to threaten your brother to meet all her demands. Liberty gets over $1 million in alimony, full custody of Sonny, and $3,000 a month for child support. Does Hank have that much money to give her?" Chelsea was shocked. Hank had transferred his assets out, but Liberty somehow got proof of the transfer. Never mind. Since trouble at the workplace is putting you down, you don't have to go with me. Your dad and I will go into the city first thing tomorrow morning to have a chat with Liberty and her sister. Chelsea replied, "Go for Serenity, Mom. Convincing her is basically convincing Liberty." "I think so too." The mother and daughter chatted for a while over the phone before they disconnected the call. Serenity popped over to Liberty's place after work to discuss the latter's housing following the move out of the Browns' residence. As expected, Liberty turned down the offer to move into her little sister's place. She said, "I will have enough money so long as Hank pays up, so I won't need to move to your place. I'll rent a place and look around for a property. The money should cover the deposit for a slightly smaller house. With the rest of the money, I'll see if I can continue working at Lewis & Co. in the event I can't work there anymore. I'll quit and run a breakfast place as you've suggested." Serenity stopped the persuasion and instead said to her sister, "Let me know whenever you're in need. I can lend you the money. Don't worry, I won't hesitate to ask you." Serenity stroked her nephew, who was nestled in her sister's arms. Aunt swore, "Does Sonny want a hug?" After much thought, Sonny stretched both errands out to let Serenity hold him. Serenity gave him a hug before carefully inspecting the bruise on his face. The doctor mentioned applying a hot compress every day after 24 hours have passed. "I followed the doctor's order, and the bruise is looking much better now." Sonny's whining had calmed down a lot as Liberty took the time to be with him and pacify the boy. "Take Sonny out for a stroll tomorrow, Liberty. Come to my shop if you don't have any place to go to." "Sure," Liberty answered. Serenity stayed for a friendly chat before leaving her sister's place. Mrs. Lane remained at Liberty's house. Prior to leaving, Serenity had Mrs. Lane help pack Liberty's things. Once the divorce was finalized, Serenity would bring people over to help her sister move and demolish the house renovation before returning the house to Hank. By the time Serenity returned to Brinfield, Grandma May was already asleep. She tiptoed into the room and took a shower before creeping into Zachary's room. Zachary told her to wait for his return in his bedroom. With a phone in hand, Serenity scrolled for videos in bed until she gave in to the Sandman's dust. She dozed off without knowing her phone had fallen onto the bed. Zachary returned home with glee. Serenity promised him that she would be waiting for him in his room. Zachary deliberately left his bedroom door unlocked before he went out this morning to give Serenity access. He eagerly pushed his bedroom door open the moment he got back. The room was brightly lit. Lo and behold, his wife was lying in bed, but she was asleep. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 534. Serenity's phone fell on the bed. Sure, Serenity had waited for Zachary, but sleepiness got the best of her. It was a blow to Zachary's exhilaration. He brought along 2 eternal diamond rings that he bought from Nana with the intention to put one on Serenity's finger. Yet, she was far off in dreamland. Sitting on the edge of the bed, Zachary reached out to pinch Serenity in the face. "You could sleep through an earthquake, little piggy." After pinching her cheeks, he leaned down to kiss her face and hovered against her lips for a prod. He then grabbed her phone and put it on the bedside table. Although his wife fell asleep waiting for him, at least, she was in his bedroom. That was what a certain Mr. York comforted himself with. The next day, Serenity woke up only to be blown away by a huge bouquet of flowers. Behind the flowers was Zachary's handsome face. She blinked. Serenity sat up the moment she was certain she was awake, and it was Zachary before her eyes. She uttered with a smile, "You're back. Good morning, darling." "Good morning? Is it morning now? Did you work until morning?" "No, I came home last night. Somebody promised to wait for my return, but she dozed off on her own." Serenity smiled embarrassedly as she reached out to accept the bouquet of beautiful flowers. "Is there a florist that opens this early in the morning? I can get flowers at any time." After Serenity took the bouquet, Zachary bent over and locked his dark eyes on her gorgeous face. He asked with a raspy voice, "Shouldn't you give me a morning kiss?" Zachary called the butler of the Yorks' residence to cut the most beautiful blossoms in the garden, wrap them up, and deliver the flowers by car so he could give her the bouquet. Romanced by Zachary's thoughtfulness and gift early in the morning, Serenity generously gave him a morning kiss. "Saren, whatever it is, you can tell me." Serenity admired the bouquet. "Where did you get the flowers from? They bloom well and better than the ones on our balcony." "I made a phone call to order directly from a flower field and got it specially delivered. No florist is open at this hour." Zachary's dark eyes were fixated on Serenity as he waited for her to feel moved and reward him with another kiss. "Is today a special day? You even got the bouquet specially delivered." Sure, Serenity was moved, but it was not the kind of moving emotions that Zachary imagined it to be. Why must it be a special day to give you flowers? Zachary pulled out 2 jewelry boxes and opened them in front of Serenity. Taking the ring for Serenity, Zachary held Serenity's left hand up and slipped the ring onto her ring finger. While doing so, he said, "We've been married for a while now, but you've been missing a ring. It's time I make it up to you. Wear it at all times, especially in front of Sean. Show off your hand so he can see the wedding ring on your finger." Although surprised, Serenity did not refuse as Zachary put the wedding ring on her finger. She was amused by his statement, though. Someone's jealous early in the morning. I can feel it a mile away. Anyway, just put it on at all times, Zachary urged before extending his hand. "Saren, put the wedding ring on me too." Putting down the bouquet, Serenity compliantly took the other ring and slipped it onto the ring finger of his left hand. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 535, Saren. Serenity was putting the ring on Zachary's finger when the latter tenderly uttered, "No matter what happens, we won't talk about splitting up or a divorce, all right?" Thinking the wedding bands were perfect for them, Serenity was in awe of Zachary's good taste. Zachary was able to pick out a S letter 1E5, IT, a BLE ring for her in her absence. Serenity heard what he had to say and picked her head up to look at him. "I can't promise you this. What if you turn out to be like Hank? Am I not supposed to bring up divorce? Cheating men should be dumped as soon as possible. Why should women keep these disgusting men around?" Zachary wanted to bait a promise out of her in hopes she would not leave him when he came clean about his identity. To his surprise, she did not fall for it. Despite being caught in a tender moment, her head remained clear. She was deservingly the woman he fell in love with. In the context that I don't have an affair, you can't ask me for a divorce no matter what happens. Our marriage is forever." Zachary would never cheat. 17, he was the type of guy who would stay faithful forever once he had fallen for the person. Hence, why he was afraid. Zachary was afraid that Serenity would dump him the moment she found out he was the great Mr. York. "Did you do me wrong or something?" Serenity added, "You're acting strange today. You had flowers specially delivered to me first thing in the morning, and now you even gave me a wedding ring. Although I can't appraise jewelry, I can tell that the ring is expensive. It's no coincidence. You must have done something to wrong me, so you're trying to sweet-talk me into falling into your trap. You're trying to put me in a situation where I can't get even with you on the matter." Zachary quietly stared at her. A while later, he extended his hand out to shuffle Serenity's hair and said nonchalantly, "You sure have a wild imagination. I put some effort into romancing you, yet you came up with conspiracy theories. Did I guess wrongly?" The unchanged expression and confidence on his face made Serenity uncertain. "So you didn't do me wrong." "To Achari." replied to her with a question. What could I do wrong? Cheat on you? Impossible. I'm not good with the ladies. In fact, I had been single until my Nana had to arrange my marriage. Otherwise, I could be single for life. There's no way in hell I would have an affair. He did not carry much desire toward women. As a matter of fact, Zachary was amazed that his feelings for Serenity would develop so soon. Perhaps they were destined for each other. No man would say they would have an affair early in the marriage. Everybody gets married, thinking it will be there forever. Zachary choked. Forget it. It's too soon to talk about this. We'll revisit this when you've done something. I'm getting up. Serenity's mind was occupied by her sister's separation from Hank today. She got off the bed and walked on, only to make her way back and push Zachary down. The bed, clasping his face, she gave him a big smooch and said with a smile, I'm really happy to receive a bouquet and the wedding ring first thing in the morning. Not too long ago, they were still sleeping in separate rooms. He was even torn about giving her a bunch of flowers. Serenity realized that there were certain things that came naturally to men. It did not take long for them to make up for the lack of experience with practice. This was the case with Zachary. He got the hang of sweet talk and romancing rather quickly. Letting go of him, Serenity turned on her heel and went to the bathroom. Zachary sat up and touched the area she kissed. Pursing his lips, he muttered, Didn't Nana tell her to jump me, strip me naked, and eat me up? She jumped him all right, but she did not strip him naked. If Serenity could read his mind, she probably would retort that she wanted to fatten him up before eating him. Zachary would hope that he was a piece of meat. Serenity came out of the bathroom a while later. Zachary was still sitting in bed when Serenity drew close. He mentioned in an affectionate voice, I'm going away on business in 2 days. For how long? Serenity knew that senior executives of major companies often had to go away on business. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 536. That's hard to say. I'll be back once my work there is done. Let me know when's your trip. I'll help you pack and drive you to the airport. Since Serenity did not have a change of clothes in his bedroom, she intended to return to her room to get dressed and wash up. With Serenity about to leave, Zachary reached out to pull her back. His dark eyes were fixed on her beautiful face. That's it. Serenity was without a word. She blinked, unable to get the message he was trying to convey. What else if not that? Was he expecting her to see him off at the city he was conducting business in? Can family tag along too? Zachary was twitching by the corners of his mouth. Since I can't go with you, is it not enough that I'll drive you to the airport? Zachary's hand over hers loosened. Serenity stared at his hand and uttered with a frown, I thought you had been slick with your words lately, but you lost it. Now you just keep me guessing by leaving things hanging. I'm not smart enough to read your mind. I'm going to change out of my pajamas. Are we going out for breakfast or having it at home? Serenity asked while walking out. You can decide. Detecting the grumpiness in his tone, Serenity stopped at the bedroom door and looked back at him before opening the door and leaving. As Serenity came face to face with Grandma May, she wished the old face a good morning like nothing ever happened. Good morning, Nana. Morning. Grandma May watched happily as Serenity came out of her grandson's bedroom. Although the couple did nothing, at least they were sleeping in the same bed. This was progress. They ended up having breakfast at home. Serenity made the grandmother and grandson a simple breakfast. Ring, 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 Serenity's phone rang. Thinking it was her sister, Serenity grabbed her phone and looked at the display screen. It was an unfamiliar number. She grimaced. Any foreign number that showed up on her phone basically belonged to her unscrupulous relatives. Since Alyssa stood up for her the last time, these people had called it quits for a while. What were they up to now that they were calling her again? With no desire to take the call, Serenity rejected it. They dialed her number once more. She cut the call. After their third attempt, Serenity slammed her cutlery down. The grandmother and grandson looked at her. She held the phone and took the call, reflecting her attitude through her icy tone. What do you want now? Serenity, I'm your granddad. Scowling at the harsh question, old Mr. Hunt wanted to give her a piece of his mind, but the thought of his grandchildren's present predicament held his tongue. So? Can't you be nicer? I'm your granddad, your elder. Don't you have any respect for your elders? I don't know how your parents raised you. I'm sorry, but my parents passed away when I was young, so they couldn't raise me like that. What? Are you going to tell on me to my parents? Well, go on. My dad is your son. Show him you're his father and give him a good dressing down. Old Mr. Hunt's complexion turned red with rage. Are you hurrying me to my grave? His son and daughter-in-law had been gone for more than a decade. Serenity was telling him to take the issue to his son and daughter-in-law in the afterlife. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 537, I said nothing of that sort. You said it yourself. Old Mr. Hunt replied, Where are you? Look at the time and your shop isn't open yet. Other businesses would have made a lot of money by now. Zachary, my granddad's so concerned as to what time I'm setting up my shop. Are pigs flying? Can you grab your phone and check from the balcony? You need to take a picture of this phenomenon. With a scowl, old Mr. Hunt lashed out, Don't change the subject, Serenity. I'm talking to you. Your uncles, aunts, and I are waiting for you at the shop. Hurry up and get over here to unlock the door. We haven't even had breakfast. Get us takeouts on your way here. There are plenty of breakfast places around. You can go hungry if you don't want to eat there. Why should Serenity be so kind to get them takeaway? They would only tear into her after getting fed. Offended by Serenity's attitude, old Mr. Hunt wanted to let Serenity have it when John snatched the phone over. John sounded rather nice over the phone. Serenity, this is your cousin, John. We're waiting in front of your shop. It'll be great if you could get here soon. We need to talk to you about something. I'll head over after I have my breakfast. All right, we'll be waiting for you. John then hung up the call. Was that your relatives again? Zachary asked solemnly as Serenity put down the phone. He had been making those people pay in secret, so life must have been hard on them to come back again. Josh was right when he said that these people would be all over Serenity, demanding money from her since they had nothing to lose now. Yeah, I think all of them are waiting in front of my shop. I don't know what they want. Anyway, I will never oblige with their request to pay for my grandmom's medical fees, so what if they come in numbers? Seeing that grandmom had a lot of devoted children and grandchildren, Serenity, as the unfavored granddaughter, had no obligation to pay for the hospital bill. Her cousins had better lives than Serenity and her sister anyway. I'll drive you to the shop later, Zachary offered. Grandma May jumped in. I've never seen your relatives. It's time we meet. Hunts were utterly absurd. Sewell, it did not change the fact they were related to Serenity by blood. They were the York family's in-laws by name. As the grandmother and grandson braced themselves and declared they were coming with, Serenity responded with a smile, It'll be fine, Nana. All they want is money. I have the money, but I'm not going to give them any. What can they do about it? I was fine chipping in a little for my father's sake if they couldn't afford to foot my grandmom's medical fees. That was despite the way they treated me and my sister. But they're richer than I am. The only thing holding them back from forking out the cash is their greed. They even benefited from my parents' insurance payout. I wonder if their conscience will ever come back to bite them. Granddad and Grandmom had not aged to the point that they were mobility impaired, nor were they confined to the bed due to any illness. Yet, their children and grandchildren were already expecting Serenity to step up to the plate and take responsibility. In the event the old couple was to be bed-bound, their corpses would not even be discovered until they were rotten. Every time Grandmom and Granddad were feeling under the weather, it was Serenity's parents who brought them to the hospital and took care of them back when her parents were still around. Nevertheless, Grandmom often spoke ill about her parents to the townspeople. Grandmom and Granddad should take a good look at how their favored children were treating them now. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 538. Serenity smirked in her mind. No deed went past God himself. Karma was bound to strike back. The writing was on the wall. Granddad and Grandmom got it coming for them. Regardless of their intentions, we'll go there with you. You can use an extra pair of hands in a fight. Grandma May insisted on going along. Serenity wanted to say that she could fight, but she could be outnumbered by all her relatives at her shop in a fight. Hence, she did not stop Grandma May from going with her. Liberty mentioned before that Grandma May could kick *SS. With the trio finishing off their breakfast, Serenity tried to clear the table when Grandma May gave her grandson a look. Zachary quietly got up and took the dirty plates from Serenity to carry into the kitchen for a wash. Saren, don't spoil him too much. Grandma May showed Serenity the tricks. You need to get him to help out with the house chores. This home belongs to you too, and you need to run it together. Sure, it's taxing for him at work, but you go to work and make money too. Who's to say you don't get tired too? Don't let him act like a king at home. Order him to work around the house. You can relax a little too. Nana, Zachary's doing good. He does help around the house. It was her scumbag of a brother-in-law who acted like a boss after getting off from work. Hank expected her sister to do everything for him. When told he could do it himself, Hank would unapologetically say that he was tired after being at work all day, and all he wanted was to rest at home. He would then go on about her sister having it easy at home since she only had to take care of a child. Yet, Hank was expected to help with the house chores. Hank labeled Liberty lazy for that. Serenity refused to waste her time whining about the scumbag as her sister was about to dump him. On Jessica time would only tell if Jessica would spoil Hank and do everything for him. I've urged him, his brothers, and cousins to be self-reliant from a young age, but I was concerned that you might give in to him because you feel bad that he has to work all day long. Saren, I'll let you in on something. You need to teach a man to be good. Men only become lazy because we pamper Thane. You need to take the time to guide Zach if you want a good man. He might not know how to say the right words or express his feelings, but he'll spoil you crazy when he cares about you. It's better that he spoils you than the other way around. Serenity answered with a grin, You're Zachary's grandmother, Nana. He'll say you're playing favorites if he hears this. I'm only imparting this knowledge because I'm his grandmother. I want you two to live happily ever after. Grandma May boldly admitted her favoritism toward her granddaughter-in-law. Serenity was the granddaughter-in-law she handpicked after all, so she was certainly going to dote on her chosen granddaughter-in-law. I'm not like those old folks who can't stand couples getting lovey-dovey. What's fun about trouble stirring and drama at home? Do they really think their children can do better after divorce? Many people think their children are the best and can find better spouses after a failed marriage. There's still a possibility for their divorced children to find someone worse or no one else. Families with daughters would quietly do a background check on the men's families before marrying off their daughters. Who would want to marry their daughters into an egotistical family? The divorced men can be alone for the rest of their lives. By the time they grow remorseful about their actions and go back to their ex-wives, the women would have moved on. Ha! Grandma May got her head straight. She would not play the devil with the young ones, nor would she allow her children and daughters-in-law to do so. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 539. In the kitchen, Zachary heard every last word of Grandma May's conversation with Serenity. Zachary was accustomed to his Nana's favoritism toward Serenity. Nana had been hoping for a granddaughter for far too long. Alas, she welcomed 9 grandsons instead. Nana developed an instant liking for Serenity and saw Serenity as her own granddaughter. However, the old lady changed her mind at the thought that her granddaughter would have to marry somebody one day hence. Nana did everything in her power to make Serenity her granddaughter-in-law, so Serenity would be with the Yorks forever. Zachary washed the dishes and wiped the stove clean. He then cleaned the wiping cloth and washed his hands before coming out of the kitchen. Serenity got up to bring out his jacket and tie. Although she had not gotten the hang of putting a tie on him, Zachary was flattered by her initiative. Zachary felt it was worth it if washing the dishes could earn him a little sugar from the anise. Grandma May was pleased with Serenity's gesture, knowing that it was a reward for Zachary. Zachary would be eating out the palm of her hand. It was all about the give and take between a couple for the relationship to last a lifetime. Should only one party be doing the giving and the other doing the taking, the giving party would be disheartened one day. An hour later, they arrived at the shop. The shop was set up by Jasmine by then, but she paid no heed to the Hunts. Apart from old Mr. Hunt, who told Mike to get him a chair from the shop to sit on, the rest were either standing or squatting at the shop entrance. They appeared to be impatient from all the waiting. Only God knew how many cigarettes John smoked. After he sent an anonymous letter to Mr. York, John was certain he was going to join York Corporation. Alas, he heard nothing back. John would not even seek employment in other minor companies, much less York Corporation. No one would give him a job other than his unemployment. The whole family's jobs and businesses took a huge hit as well. They were losing sales to their competitors and going in the red. John knew better than anyone else that it was the doing of the person backing Serenity. He was scared. John persuaded Granddad to swallow his pride and brought the rest of the family to make peace with Serenity once more. Besides, they were also here to talk about Liberty and Hank's divorce. Mrs. Brown came to the hospital with a sum of money and asked for old Mr. Hunt. She pleaded with the Hunts to talk Liberty out of the divorce. Money talked. Old Mr. Hunt accepted the sum from Liberty's mother-in-law and took on the task. As requested, old Mr. Hunt took his children and grandchildren to seek Serenity beforehand. "Aren't you embarrassed to keep your elders waiting?" Old Mr. Hunt laid it down to Serenity the moment she got out of the car. Serenity and Zachary helped the abled old lady into the shop while faintly replying, "I didn't ask you to wait. Grandma may." Getting up, Jasmine immediately pulled a chair for the old lady to sit on. She whispered to her best friend, Saren, "They did not come in peace. They've been waiting for a long time. I guess they won't leave until they see the money." Serenity patted Jasmine's arm to comfort her. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 540, Serenity. Mike and John entered the shop with Granddad. The others were left outside. "Is this your man?" Old Mr. Hunt sized Zachary up for a while, forming the opinion that Serenity's husband was better than Liberty's husband. Meanwhile, he was upset as well as his granddaughters did not give them financial support when the girls got hitched. The girls were raised, only to ditch their own family for another. His son would turn over in his grave if he knew what his daughters did. Although the girls' parents were no longer around, their grandparents, old Mr. and Mrs. Hunt, were. Serenity and Liberty should have provided their grandparents the financial support. However, Serenity and Liberty did nothing of that sort. "That's your grandson-in-law. What do you think? Isn't he hot?" Approaching Zachary, Serenity placed her hand on his shoulder and deliberately asked Granddad, "Do we look good together?" Old Mr. Hunt was rendered speechless. He asked the old lady, "And you are? Your in-law?" Ah, the old lady was from Serenity's husband's side of the family. Old Mr. Hunt pulled out a water pipe and some tobacco to take a couple of puffs before remarking, "Serenity didn't inform us about getting married. We have no idea of your existence. Today is the first time we met." "I heard Serenity did have a wedding. I'm wondering how much financial support you're intending to provide for our Serenity. Have you prepared a marital home, car, and whatnot for her? Although Serenity's parents are no longer with us, we, as the grandparents, are still around. We might have had our differences in the past, but it doesn't change the fact that I'm her grandfather. The means of support you're giving Serenity should come through us first." Grandma May would have stormed off with a grimace at the mention of money during the first meeting with in-laws if she were an ordinary wealthy lady. Nevertheless, the old lady uttered with a smile, "Of course, we would provide the necessary, but it would be for Saren. As to how she intends to use the money, that's her business. We won't poke our nose into the matter." In other words, the Hunts would need Serenity's permission to access the money. Following the numerous confrontations, the Hunts had been bested by Serenity. They should think twice before trying to get their hands on Serenity's money. Old Mr. Hunt was lost for words. "Is your sister filing for divorce, Serenity?" Knowing they could not get a penny out of Serenity, old Mr. Hunt stiffly changed the subject. This was also one of the main reasons they were here today. "Well, news sure travels fast to you, Granddad." Serenity retorted sarcastically, guessing that the Browns probably had a change of heart and persuaded old Mr. and Mrs. Hunt to talk to them. "Look at Liberty. Who would want a divorcee like her? She also has a child. Why take the divorce route? Her man only strayed a little because of the business engagement he has to conduct for his successful career. She could turn a blind eye so long as he comes home to her. I know what her man did to her. I'm furious too. See, I brought your uncle and cousins along to stick up for your sister and teach her man a lesson. We can beat him up if necessary. He'll see the error of his ways and stay true to your sister. Serenity, your sister listens to everything you say. Take my advice and talk some sense into your sister. Don't file for divorce. It's better to save a marriage than to wreck it. You're Liberty's sister. You should talk her out of getting a divorce. Your sister's man only abused her because she did not have a family standing up for her. Now that we're here, we've got her back. I can promise that her man won't lay another finger on her." Old Mr. Hunt peered at Zachary before adding, "Serenity, no matter what we've done to you and your sister in the past, we're still family. You both are married and will be picked on by your in-laws if you don't have your family by your side. Take the high road and be forgiving. Stop giving your cousins a hard time. Let them go back to doing their business and job." Old Mr. Hunt defended the Browns while pleading on behalf of his children and grandchildren. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 541, Lingfei 541, pointing at the door, Serenity barked coldly. There's the door. Please get up, turn around, and get out of here, Granddad. My sister's affairs are none of your business. My so-called cousins have approached me many times, so they know what I said. It's not like they were interested in giving me a sincere apology. All they were after was my reconciliation with you. Whose fault do you think it is? Seeing that Serenity would not budge, old Mr. Hunt peevishly told Zachary, See that, young man? She doesn't want her family by her side. You're free to kick her around. Don't worry, we won't come for you. Zachary had a mind to throw the old man out. He had never seen a grandfather like this ever. Despite his disdain for his granddaughter, the old man should not say such a thing. Zachary callously remarked, I married my wife to love and spoil her, not to pick on her. A man who tyrannizes his wife is no man at all. Are you going to get out yourself, or should I drive you out with a broom? Granddad's words got under Serenity's skin. These people always talked about making peace, yet their actions and words reflected no remorse. They still seemed to believe she was at fault and pushed the blame for their recent bad luck onto the person backing Serenity. Hence, why they shamelessly and relentlessly came by her shop. Serenity had mentioned that the conflict between them started with Twitter, so it should end with Twitter too. Serenity was willing to accept reconciliation if the Hunts issued a public apology on Twitter and returned the sisters their good name. Since the Hunt could not comply with a simple request, why should Serenity back down? John immediately chimed in, Serenity, Granddad's getting senile. Don't take his words to heart. We're here today not for you to pay for Grandmom's medical bills, but to teach your sister's man a lesson and save your sister's marriage. She has a child to think about too. Let us know if your sister's in-laws are a menace. We're your cousins no matter what. We should stick up for you and your sister when you're being harassed. Don't bother, John. She will come and beg us to be on her side when her in-laws push her around. Old Mr. Hunt was thinking that since he had already used the money from the Browns to pay his wife's medical bills and pocketed the rest in the bank, there was no way the Browns could make him cough the money back out. The Browns wanted him to talk to Serenity, and he did. It was Serenity who refused to budge. Thus, there was no need for old Mr. Hunt to stay and take sh*T from Serenity. Old Mr. Hunt grumpily called his grandsons to leave with him. Go, 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 let's go home. Don't give a certain somebody the satisfaction to kick us out. Old Mr. Hunt walked away in a huff, waving his arm like a boss to get all his children and grandchildren to pull out altogether. Everybody was at a loss. That was a wasted morning. Nothing was resolved. Old Mr. Hunt got a lump sum from the Browns, so it was not all for naught for him. Since old Mrs. Hunt's medical debt was already paid with the Browns' money, the Hunts did not need to hassle Serenity and Liberty for cash. The family was in and out of there in no time. Serenity, their shamelessness sure blows my mind. Jasmine gasped before asking the old lady, Grandma May, you've seen a lot of people in your lifetime. Have you met anyone so brazen? No. Grandma May was honest with her answer. The people in her circle were particular about honor and mannerisms. She had never come across brash people like the Hunts. Thankfully, Serenity and her sister were able to stand against these ridiculous relatives, refusing to be taken advantage of. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 542, Why did they stick up for scumbag Hank? Jasmine curiously added, Did the Browns give something to make their time worthwhile? Serenity smirked. My sister and Hank restructured the terms of the divorce. In line with the new divorce papers, Hank has to give my sister over $1 million. I guess Mrs. Brown couldn't part with the money, so she tried to get my granddad to talk to us. The Hunts were the sisters' family by name after all. I wonder how much Mrs. Brown gave my granddad. Well, she'll never see the money again. She's usually bright when it comes to setting my sister up, but not this time. I guess she got flustered. There were no do-overs in life. Now that the matter's over, you should get to work, Zachary. With the Hunts gone, Serenity urged her man to go to work. Although Zachary came with Serenity to the shop, he was not of much help. Serenity packed a hefty punch, so he would usually take a stand back and let her handle it. A certain heir sulkily took off after with his wife urging him on. Back at the office, Zachary gave Jim a call. Once Jim accepted the call, Zachary went straight to business. Jim, get everyone to bring along tools to dismantle a house and head to Bright Boulevard in the afternoon. Assist the Mrs.'s sister to move out and demolish the house. Jim respectfully responded, copy that. You can stay out of this one. Serenity recognizes you. Jim replied after a pause, Sir, although I'm acting as the designated driver, I can be taking on other jobs too. Home demolition is my thing. It would kill Jim if he could not partake in such a fun activity. After much thought, Zachary said, You can go along if you can come up with a story that won't raise any suspicion in Serenity. Jim answered. Right away, relax, Mr. Zachary. I'm getting the hang of making up excuses. The missus won't suspect a thing. Zachary fell silent for a moment before eerily commenting, Why do I get the feeling you're implying that I make up a lot of stories? Jim was lost for words. He would never have the guts to imply anything. Zachary was cool about it, though. The call soon ended. Meanwhile, Jim sighed in relief after Mr. Zachary hung up the call. Lifting his arm, he wiped away the cold sweat on his forehead. He broke out in cold sweat at Mr. Zachary's grim comment in the middle of winter. It was a good thing he secured the chance to assist in the home demolition for the Mrs.'s sister by the time. Afternoon rolled around, Liberty dropped her son off at the shop and asked her sister to look after Sonny. Liberty, do you want me there? Serenity was worried an issue might arise. Your parents-in-law gave Granddad and the others a little something. They came this morning and told me a bunch of stuff about saving the marriage. I told them to get lost. Passing her sleeping child over to her sister, Liberty uttered softly. Sonny fell asleep on the way. He has already had lunch, so just let him have his nap. Hank called me earlier. We're meeting at the time and place we agreed on yesterday. It seems he has convinced his parents. It did not concern Liberty that Hank might have a change of heart. Hank attached importance to his career and was in a hurry to be with Jessica, so he refused to let the matter drag on. He did not want the whole thing hanging over him. Her mother-in-law tried to get her relatives to talk her out of a divorce. Liberty wanted to laugh. Her mother-in-law deserved to lose money for being so dumb to trust Liberty's relatives. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 543. Serenity carried her sleeping nephew while asking her sister, Have you eaten, Liberty? Not yet. I came right after feeding Sonny. I'm pretty done with all the packing. I'll need to trouble you to drive over and move my things once the divorce is finalized, Saren. I found a good place to rent this morning. It's not too far from your place, and the accessibility of public transportation is pretty good in the area. The problem is tidying up the place, though. I'll figure that out once I get the procedures done and out of the way. The matter at hand right now was getting the divorce finalized. Hopefully, there would be no complications in between. Have something to eat and rest here, Liberty. I'll drive you to the bank to meet with Hank. I'll stay with you until he wires the cash to your account, and then I'll come back to the shop. Grandma May jumped in before Liberty could refuse. Let Serenity go with you, Liberty. We can't feel at ease if you go alone. That family is shameless. Who knows what tricks they're going to pull again? The old lady then turned to Serenity. Saren, drive your sister to the family court once she gets the agreed assets. You need to keep an eye out for the Browns. Some people will resort to violence during a divorce. You know kickboxing, so you should go along. You'll get peace of mind, and so will we. I'll go with your suggestion, Grandma May. Serenity wanted to be with her sister all the way, but Liberty would not let her. Now that Grandma May spoke up, Liberty would not refuse out of reverence for the elders and comply with Grandma May's proposal. With that, Serenity put her nephew to rest on a sofa bed. Jacinine and Mrs. Lane went into the kitchen to bring out the cooked food. Sorry to bother you. A voice intruded. Interrupted from digging into their meals, the lot turned to the shop entrance and saw the lobby manager of Wiltspoon Hotel. Mr. Zen carried a few packed dishes into the shop and placed them on the dining table. He smiled at Serenity and said, Here I am again, Ms. Hunt. Mr. York called and ordered a few dishes to be delivered to you. While talking, he pulled out the food container from the bag and opened the lid of each container to display the food on the table. Serenity expressed her gratitude with a smile. Thank you for coming all this way. It's not trouble at all. Mr. Zen believed it was his honor to run errands for Mr. Zachary. Most importantly, he got to show his face around the missus. Anyone well acquainted with Mr. Zachary would know that he was an indifferent man. However, the person close to Mr. Zachary's heart must be the love of his life. For Serenity to be that person, Mr. Zen had to make himself known in the Mrs.'s presence. It would come in handy more than sucking up to Mr. Zachary. I should leave you to your lunch. Instead of sticking around, Mr. Zen said with a grin before nodding at Grandma May. He then turned on his heel and took off. Serenity courteously walked with him for a while and saw him off. She quickly whipped out her phone to send a thank you message to Zachary together with a kissing emoji. Zachary was pleased to receive the text message from his wife. During lunch, Serenity uttered, "Liberty, I've discussed with Zachary and told him to hire a dozen strong men to wait outside your residential building. Once the divorce papers go through, they'll get right to moving you out and demolishing the renovations." Liberty answered merrily, "I was stressing about where to hire people to wreck the place." At first, Grandma May wanted to volunteer her grandsons to help with the demolishing. However, considering that it was not the weekend today and year-end was around the corner, Grandma May did not want to take her grandsons out of their busy schedules to help out. Since Serenity had talked with Zachary beforehand, Grandma May decided to stay out of it. Jasmine chimed in, "Serenity, did Mr. York hire enough hands on deck? I can call my cousins to join in if you could use more help. Also, do you want to let Alyssa in on this? She's going to tell you off for not including her in the fun." If Alyssa was here, she would commend Jasmine on being a good friend. Jasmine never excluded her in all the fun. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 544, Grandma May nearly choked on her food. Why did Jasmine include the fiery stone girl in this? Grandma May would have to stay out from the fun if Alyssa was going along. In addition, Zachary would be assigning his security detail to do the house demolition. As Zachary's #1 fan, Alyssa would be able to identify the bodyguards, unlike Serenity. All hell would break loose then. It was a good thing Serenity put Grandma May's worries at ease when Serenity said, "Let's not involve Alyssa since things might turn rough. She's an heiress, so she probably hasn't been." In this sort of situation, it might scare her. If Alyssa were here, she would refute that as she had seen it all and had nerves of steel. It was a pity her cousin excluded her, blocking her from joining in on the fun. I think a dozen men should be enough. Serenity did not want to bother her best friend's cousins. "We have to make it snappy. We might not be able to remove everything by tonight if we're too slow. We're friends, Saren. Don't mention it. I'll give my cousin a call now. My cousin does construction. His workers are professionals." Seeing that Jasmine had a point, Serenity agreed to her best friend's suggestion. Liberty was touched. She married Mr. Wrong, but she could cut her losses and leave the scumbag's family. Liberty still had friends and family to lean on. Liberty was fortunate. "Thank you, Jasmine," Liberty gratefully said to Jasmine. Jasmine replied with a grin, "Liberty, we're basically family. Your business is my business. Saren and I have tolerated that absurd family for far too long." Serenity did nothing in the past because Liberty wanted to make her marriage work with Hank. Now that they were about to get a divorce, there was no longer a need to hold back. "Let's eat. Everyone. Zach had the food specially delivered to us. The food won't taste good cold." Grandma May urged everyone to dig in after lunch and a brief rest. Serenity drove her sister to the bank that Hank specified. "Liberty, did you bring all the documents?" "I got them." Liberty did one last check to make sure she had everything she needed. Ring, ring, ring. Liberty's phone rang. She looked at the caller ID and told her sister, "It's Chelsea. Just ignore her." Serenity had the worst opinion of Chelsea out of everyone. Chelsea was a *T stirrer. Although Chelsea had been married for over a decade, she often meddled in her shopping mode brother's marital affairs. Chelsea often badmouthed her sister-in-law. Now Chelsea got her wish and pushed her shopping mode brother and sister-in-law into getting a divorce. It was anyone's bad luck to get a sister-in-law like Chelsea. It would take a person more preposterous than Chelsea to hold her down. Unable to keep her laughter within, Serenity uttered, "Say, Liberty, do you think Jessica would get along with Hank's sister after marrying into the family? Can she tolerate his parents helping his sister financially and time-wise?" Stranger Marriage, Chapter 545, knowing what hit her sister's funny bone, Liberty replied, "Who cares if they'll get along? I'll have nothing to do with Hank after the divorce." After a pause, Liberty added, "I'm guessing there'll be a lot of drama." "Good, serves them right." Serenity admitted she was a bit wicked to anticipate a hard life upon the Browns after Hank remarried. She hoped Jessica would turn the Browns, lives upside down, and give Chelsea hell. Since Liberty did not accept Chelsea's call, Chelsea sent a text message instead. Liberty had blocked their numbers on WhatsApp, only sparing Hank's number to discuss the separation matters. Once the divorce papers were finalized, Hank's WhatsApp contact details would be at permanent fixture in Liberty's lists of blocked numbers. Liberty deleted Chelsea's text message without even reading it. She then blocked Chelsea's phone number, refusing to accept any more calls and text messages from this sender. It would not take long before Chelsea was no longer her sister-in-law. Serenity's phone rang too. She thought it might be the Browns trying their hand on her, as Liberty did not pick up their calls. Serenity looked at the mobile screen and realized that it was her man. She put his call on loudspeaker. "Honey." Serenity was rendered speechless. Zachary seemed to call her honey this morning when she woke up too. However, her attention at the time was on the flowers, so she gave no response. Serenity was wide awake this time, with Zachary calling her honey again. Serenity swiftly glanced at her sister. Serenity was relieved that her sister did not react to it whatsoever. It was probably because other couples called each other endearing pet names as well. "Serenity?" Zachary was not used to giving Serenity a term of endearment too. Nevertheless, it did get easier after the first time. Getting no response from his wife, Zachary assumed Serenity did not like the mushiness form of address, so he switched to addressing her by her name. "Are you listening? I'm driving, just tell me I'm listening. I found more than a dozen people for you. I told them to wait at the entrance of Bright Boulevard. You can just head there later." "Sure, I got it." Jasmine also called her cousin to bring workmen to help out. Her cousin works in construction. His workmen are professionals in this. They could build and demolish homes. Zachary remained quiet for a while, dwelling on the fact that Jasmine stole his credit. "I can arrange for more people to do the job if necessary." Apart from his usual security detail, Zachary made a call to the family residence to summon the other bodyguards too. There were 18 Muslimen altogether. "We have enough for now. It's a matter of speed. We don't want Hank to find out and make a fuss." Serenity could imagine the shock Hank would receive when he returned home at night to a wrecked home. Ha ha ha, the thought of Hank's mouth agape gave Serenity the thrill. It was his fault for bullying her sister. Did Hank think he could get off scot-free after refusing to pay back the renovation costs? Hank was so arrogant to challenge Liberty to tear off the floor tiles. Well, they were taking him up on the challenge now. The sisters refused to let Hank look down on them. "That's true. Let me know if you need anything. I can get you set up." Serenity replied with a smile. "We're good for now. Focus on your work. You can come over and help if you don't have any social engagement tonight. My sister rented a place. We need to help her tidy up the place." The great Mr. York was ordered around like a cleaner. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 546. Although the man had been educated on how to take care of himself, he had never been Al Cleaner before. When his wife was a slave driver to him, he did not get angry and was willing to do so instead. "Sure, I'll head over after work. Send me the address of Liberty's rented apartment later. Remember to cook for me." 2. "Okay. Thank you, Zachary," Liberty thanked her brother-in-law. If it were not for her sister and brother-in-law standing behind her all the time and supporting her, she would not have been able to reach a consensus with Hank and divorce peacefully in the shortest time possible. "We're family, Liberty. You don't have to thank me." Liberty was still grateful. After hanging up the phone, she said again, "Saren, Zachary is a very good man. You have to treat him well." "Sis, my ears are going to fall off if you say that one more time." She said the same thing every time. Liberty laughed. It had become a habit. 10 minutes later, they arrived at the bank Hank mentioned. Hank and his parents were present. Chelsea was not around. Maybe because she was unable to take time off. When they saw Liberty arrive, Olivia welcomed her with smiles like she was a new daughter-in-law. She affectionately took Liberty's hand and said, "Liberty, let's call off the divorce, okay? Chelsea and I were wrong in the past and always told you off. I promise you that from now on, you're the queen of our family. If Hank dares treat you badly again, I'll break his legs for you. Liberty, fate brought you two together as a couple, so you should cherish the relationship. Hank and you have known each other for 12 years. You're also well aware of how well he treated you in the past. You have to reconsider. Hank was tricked by that vixen Yates. I already ordered him to break up with her, so don't be angry anymore. Tell me how you want to vent your anger and I'll help you do it. Don't be mad, okay? For Sonny's sake, just forgive Hank this one time. Don't go through the divorce, all right? Don't divorce anymore. Liberty calmly looked at the woman who was about to become her ex-mother-in-law. She said calmly, I'm sorry, Mrs. Brown, but there's no turning back now. Ever since your son did those things, it was destined for us to end. Liberty? Olivia's eyes reddened when she heard Liberty call her Mrs. Brown. Liberty, are you really that heartless to let Sonny live in a single-parent family? Sonny is my son. He's more important to me than life itself. Even if he lives with me in a single-parent family, I can care for him and let him grow up healthily. Don't worry, I won't tarnish your image in front of Sonny. No matter how Hank and her fell out, he was still Sonny's father. Liberty would not speak ill of Hank in front of their son. There was no need to implicate the children in their conflict. Serenity, persuade your sister. Don't let her divorce. The price of the divorce was too great. Olivia regretted it deeply now. She always thought that since Liberty had no job and no income, became fat and ugly after marriage, and had Sonny, she would not have it in her to divorce. She did not expect Liberty to actually get a divorce. Mrs. Brown, I respect my sister's choice. What was the point of regretting it now? Serenity saw the regret on Olivia's face, but she felt that the regret was not because her sister insisted on the divorce. It was because her sister would be getting more than $1 million from the division of the assets, and Olivia could not bear to part with the money. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 547, Serenity wondered how many tens of thousands Olivia gave old Mr. Hunt to lobby for her. Her granddad probably would not agree unless it was at least 30 to 50,000. The family deserved it. Serenity was wickedly looking forward to Olivia going to her granddad to ask for the money back. The two families would tear each other up. Oh. Her character was getting worse. Would Zachary dislike her like this? If Zachary were here, he would say, I won't dislike you. I love it when you're like this. Mom. Hank quickly walked over, pulled his mother away, and turned to his father to say, Dad, look, after Mom. Olivia flung off his hand, but the next moment, she grabbed his arm and pinched him while scolding him, it's all your fault. You tore a good family apart. She then sat on the floor and pounded the ground, crying and screaming at her son. Hank was embarrassed by his mother's behavior. He gave an unpleasant expression, ashen and pale. Mr. Brown came over and pulled his wife up. His expression was also unsightly as he persuaded his wife, Stop this, honey. There's no turning back anymore. He also said guiltily to Liberty, who was calmly watching the scene, We're sorry, Liberty. You two can go in and proceed with the formalities. Liberty did not say anything. No matter what they said now, she would not take it to heart. All she knew was that her marriage with Hank was going to end. She was going to get a new life. Let's go, Liberty said indifferently and took the lead to enter the bank. Hank said a few words to his father and followed suit. He asked Liberty as he walked, Have you brought the originals of the evidence as well as all the copies? Don't worry, I'm a woman of my word. As long as you finish everything swiftly, I won't drag it out either. Hank was slightly relieved. The two of them went into the bank and were soon followed by Mr. and Mrs. Brown. The money was Hank's, but the bank card was under Mr. Brown's name, so the latter had to sign the documents. Olivia kept hinting at her husband not to sign, but to delay it for as long as possible. He ignored her. As he mentioned, there was no turning back anymore. If they continued to argue, their son's future might be ruined as well. After Mr. Brown signed the papers, $118 million was deposited into Liberty's bank card as per the divorce agreement. Hank's parents seemed to have aged 20 years when they emerged from the bank. Hank took out his cell phone and said to Liberty, It's almost New Year's, so this month's child support payment doesn't count. I'll transfer to you next year's worth of child support now. After that, I'll transfer the yearly amount on every New Year's Day. As he spoke, he took out his phone and transferred $36,000 to Liberty. Liberty did not expect him to give her a year's worth of child support so easily. However, this was better. She would not have to worry about him regretting it and refusing to pay child support after the divorce. There were many men who promised child support during the divorce, but went back on their word and denied it, refusing to give any money. Those would not pay for child support but would morally blackmail their children when they got old, and they would tell the media they had to beg their children to support them in their old age. People like that were a dime a dozen. Hank let Liberty down. Since he was willing to pay for child support, he was at least much better than those who would rather use their money to raise the children of their next wife rather than the child they shared. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 548. If you want to see Sonny in the future, call me and I'll send him to your parents' house, but you have to send him back on time. This was what Liberty had promised Jessica. She would not use her child to destroy Jessica and Hank's relationship. She would try not to meet Hank after the divorce. Okay. Hank had no problems. With that, we'll go to City Hall to complete the formalities now. I requested leave, but I have to go back to work after the procedure. Hank was also at peace with himself at the moment. Liberty returned to her sister's car and they went to the City Hall together. Hank, on the other hand, drove with his parents and followed Serenity's car. Olivia even cried for a while in the car. After being told off by her husband and knowing there was no turning back, she wiped her tears away and said to her son, "After the divorce is finalized, tell Liberty to go back and pack her stuff and move out. Don't let her stay for even one more night. Up, your father and I will go home first to pack up our stuff and we'll move over to live with you. We'll stay in the city for New Year's. When your sister and brother-in-law get their leaves approved, tell them to bring their family over too. We'll all get together for New Year's. Also, tell that Yates girl to spend New Year's with us. We need someone to cook for us." Hank knew his parents were heartbroken that he was determined to divorce and give up on Sonny's custody, so he agreed to whatever was asked of him. As for letting Jessica stay and spend New Year's with them, as well as cooking for their family, Hank, surprisingly, did not find anything wrong with that. In previous years, it was always Liberty who cooked for the family during New Year's. On the way to City Hall, Hank received a phone call from Jessica. She asked, "Hank, are the formalities done? We're on our way to City Hall now and will reach in about 10 minutes. We just divided our assets as per her request." Jessica sighed in relief. Fortunately, there were no more accidents. "Text me when you're done." "Okay, Jessica, I'll help you move your stuff in the evening," Hank said happily. He planned to go over and pick Jessica up after Liberty moved out. He wanted to live blissfully with just the two of them before his parents and sister's family came over to stay. Jessica smiled sweetly. Okay. Hank's house was well decorated, and that house was in a good school's catchment area. The price of property there had risen so much that the house was worth several million. Jessica had long been looking forward to living in a high-end neighborhood and becoming the mistress of that house. Now that her dream was soon to be realized, she was feeling cheery too. She wanted nothing more than for the day to end. When the night sky came, she would be able to be with Hank proudly and openly. "I'm driving now. Let's talk tonight." Hank was looking forward to the days ahead too. After he hung up the phone, Mr. Brown asked his son in a low voice, "Are you going to marry that Yates girl?" "Dad, I love Jessica. I'm divorcing Liberty because I don't want Jessica to suffer. Once I'm single again, I'll definitely marry Jessica. You and Mom can pick a date to meet with her parents and siblings. We'll have a meal together." He was talking about Jessica and his wedding matters. Olivia said, "You two can just get your marriage license at City Hall. There's no need to do anything else." "That won't do. I promised Jessica I would marry her flamboyantly. A girl only wears a wedding dress once in her life. I can't let Jessica down." Stranger Marriage, Chapter 549, Olivia said, "You've already given so much money to Liberty after divorcing her, but she did give birth to a son for you, so I'll let it go even though I'm heartbroken. However, now you're saying you want to hold another wedding and you want to make it extravagant? That'll cost a lot of money. Son, do you think you run a bank?" "Don't worry, Mom. I'll pay for my wedding with Jessica. I don't need you and Dad to pay for it." Even if they did not have to fork out any money, Olivia still felt reluctant. When she thought of how she foolishly went to the Hunt family and gave them tens of thousands to ask them to persuade Liberty not to get a divorce, she wanted to find a brick to slap herself. How could she have done something so stupid? When her son was done with the divorce, she was going back to that old man to ask for her money back. Old Mr. Hunt requested tens of thousands and promised to persuade Serenity to talk Liberty out of the divorce, but he failed to do so, so he naturally had to return the money to her. They arrived at City Hall 10 minutes later. Serenity and Liberty arrived first and waited for Hank's family at the entrance. When Hank arrived, the couple showed no hesitation and entered the building. 3 years ago, they walked into City Hall hand in hand and received a marriage license. At that time, Liberty thought she would grow old together with Hank. She never thought they would be back after just a few years, and this time, it was for their divorce. The pair were divorcing on consensus with no quarrels and brought all the documents needed. The officers at City Hall had to deal with many divorce cases daily, so when it was the couple's turn, the officers did not try to persuade them and simply proceeded with the formalities. Hank's parents and Serenity waited at the side. What surprised the three of them was there were very few couples who came to register for marriage, but there was a long line waiting to process their divorce papers. Serenity glanced at Hank's parents and thought the divorce rate is so high not only because of the couple, but also due to the couple's families. Her sister ended up like this because of the Brown family. Liberty got the divorce certificate and walked over in relief, calling out to her sister, "It's done, let's go back." "Okay." Serenity got up and accompanied her sister out. "Liberty," Hank called out to Liberty at the entrance. Liberty stopped and looked back at him. He held his right hand. "I wish you happiness in the future." Liberty accepted the handshake and said graciously, "I wish Ms. Yates and you happiness in the future." Hank pursed his lips. "I'm sorry, I hurt you deeply." When all was said and done, he was in the wrong. He indeed let Liberty down. Liberty smiled and said nothing. Since he was willing to divorce and let her leave, her resentment toward him lessened significantly. "Liberty, since you've divorced Hank, it's not right for you to live in Hank's house anymore. Please move out tonight. We'll be moving in tomorrow." Since the divorce was finalized, Olivia stopped pretending and bluntly reminded Liberty to move out. Liberty said casually, "I packed Sonny and my luggage last night. I'll go over now and take them away. Also, I'll take the fees I used for the renovation." Olivia said coldly, "You're welcome to try. Who cares?" Little did she know, it was not just some household appliances Liberty wanted to take away. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 550, Not all of the appliances were bought by you, so don't move everything. Olivia was afraid Liberty would move the appliances they bought as well. "Don't worry, Mrs. Brown, I won't touch things I didn't pay for. You can come to me if you find anything of yours missing." Olivia snorted coldly and stopped speaking. Ring, 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 Hank's phone rang. It was from his boss. He quickly answered the phone when he saw the caller ID. The boss said something over the phone and Hank's expression sank. He said in a subdued voice, "I've finished my business, sir. I'll go back to the office now to deal with it. Why were all the orders canceled? Don't worry, sir. I'll definitely deal with it and salvage those orders." After hanging up the phone, he said to his parents, "Mom, Dad, something urgent cropped up in the office. I'm going back to work now. You two take a cab back." He turned to Liberty and said, "Liberty, just move out before 10 tonight. I'll only be home at that time." He left in a hurry. He did not even have time to tell Liberty to take care. Hank's parents watched their son's back as he quickly left. Mr. Brown glanced at the Hunt sisters but did not say anything and took his wife to hail a taxi to go home. Serenity, on the other hand, drove her sister back to move her stuff. "Sis, it looks like Hank's job hasn't been going too well lately." Serenity noticed her ex-brother-in-law's dismay when he received a call from his boss. Maybe he only rose to his position thanks to the good fortune you brought to him. Now that you're divorced and no longer his lady luck, his career will go downhill. Serenity hoped for that to happen. It was true that some men could make a fortune because their wives were good homemakers. They were able to focus on their career without worries. Hence the saying, "Behind every great man there's a great woman." Liberty said indifferently, "I don't care how his work goes. In any case, I got my money. Saren, when I settle down, tell Zachary to ask that friend of his out. We'll buy him dinner for the great help that he's provided. If not for him helping to collect the evidence for me to threaten Hank, I wouldn't have been able to divorce Hank and obtain the assets in the shortest time possible." Serenity was likewise curious about this amazing friend of Zachary and responded, "Sure, I already told him to invite his friend out for dinner and he said he had already done so. If Josh were here, he would say, 'I've been waiting for your dinner invitation too, but my boss won't let me show up.'" After about half an hour, the two sisters returned to Bright Boulevard. Before they reached the entrance, Serenity saw a group of people holding home demolition tools. They either stood or squatted by the entrance of the community, standing by with the community's security guards. She knew at once that these were the helpers arranged by Zachary. Jasmine and Grandma May were there as well. Jasmine tried to persuade the old woman to stay in the store and take care of Sunny. Grandma May looked askance at Jasmine and said, "Jasmine, are you looking down on me? I'm old physically, but I'm still young at heart. I might not be able to tear down the house, but I can be the commander-in-chief. With me at the helm, I guarantee the demolition will go smoothly." Jasmine was amused by the old lady and laughed. "Grandma May, you're the funniest old woman I've ever met." She could not convince the old lady to stay back, so she ended up bringing her along. Mrs. Lane stayed in the shop to look after Sunny. They could have closed the shop and come over together. However, Sunny was frightened just a few days ago, so they decided not to let him see something as violent as tearing down a home, lest it leave another trauma on his young mind. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 551, Lingfei 551. Serenity stopped the car. "Seren, did everything go well?" Jasmine asked with concern. Serenity smiled. "It went great." Liberty got out of the car. She took out her access card and while swiping it, she said to the security guard, "I'm moving out. These are the movers I hired to help me." The guard took a double take at the group of people and said, "Are you moving or tearing down your home? They even brought so many tools with them. Are they redecorating after the move as well?" "Yes, they're here to redecorate. However, it would not be her money to be spent anymore." The security guard did not ask more, and it was fine to him as long as they were not here to pick a fight. With Liberty leading the way, the group of people entered Bright Boulevard. Along the way, many residents were attracted by the procession and stopped to watch. "Liberty, why did you bring so many people over?" Some people who knew Liberty took the opportunity to ask her when they greeted her. Liberty smiled and said, "I'm moving and then redecorating the place, so I have to tear it down first." "Why are you suddenly redecorating?" "I don't like the current style anymore, so I'll smash it and replace it with something new." "You're the person hummed and praised. You're able to spend money so easily because husband is good at making money." Typically, a home modification would not be done after a renovation had already taken place. Liberty smiled and said, "I'll get to work now." Hank was indeed good at making money, but that had nothing to do with her anymore. Serenity and Jasmine accompanied Grandma May and walked at the back of the line. Looking at her sister who was leading the way, Serenity said to her best friend, "I feel like I got my sister back after the divorce. That's my energetic and fiery sister." Jasmine nodded. Marrying the wrong man could really ruin a woman. "Seren, what are your sister's plans for the future?" Grandma May said with concern, "Tell me if she wants to get married again. I'll help her pick a good man myself. I'll make sure her second love blooms more brilliantly than her first ever could." Serenity thanked the old woman and said, "My sister most likely won't consider remarrying for the time being. She might start her own business." Marriage brought harm to her sister, and certainly, remarriage was not a plan for the foreseeable future. Grandma May hummed. "That's good too. Women folk have to strive for self-improvement." All of them arrived at Liberty's house. Liberty said, "This morning I put a sticky note on everything that was bought with my money. Help me move away the items that can be moved. If they can't be moved, then smash it. Things without a note on them were bought with their money, so we won't touch those belonging to them. Besides, I paid for all the renovation. The doors, windows, and lights can all be taken down. If they can't be taken down, then smash them." She would take away whatever could be used or otherwise had them taken down. If those items which were taken down could no longer be of use or dismantled, then they would smash them. "I'll leave it to you." Liberty went to get a small knife and cut open the sealing tape of a few boxes of water. Then, she took out bottles of mineral water to distribute to everyone. She had prepared everything in advance. The men looked around the house and saw that most of the appliances had a post-it note stuck on them, so Jim and the other bodyguards first moved out the appliances that Liberty bought. The workers arranged by Jasmine's cousin started removing some of the appliances installed on the walls. Grandma May reminded everyone, "Be careful." Serenity and Jasmine, on the other hand, helped Liberty pack up loose objects that needed to be taken away so it would be more convenient for the bodyguards to move them later. Serenity had no idea that these people were the bodyguards of the York family. She only thought Zachary was amazing to find so many strong and young workers. Without a doubt, they could easily do the heavy lifting and moving. Jim was amongst the group and kept a low profile, but the sharp-eyed Serenity soon caught sight of him. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 553. After moving out those things that were movable, what remained were the few items Hank bought with his own money. Everyone worked together and brought the appliances Hank purchased over to the entrance of the house before they began smashing the floor tiles and tearing down the drywall. The sounds of drilling, shattering, and breaking mixed into creating a cacophony. It affected the residents upstairs and downstairs. Liberty and Serenity felt embarrassed and hurriedly went to a store to buy some fruit to give to their immediate neighbors. They apologized and assured them that the job would be finished before dark. Since the sisters came bearing fruit to apologize and the neighbors were familiar with the sisters, they temporarily put up with the noise. For families with children who could not stand the sound, the adults took the children out for a walk. The sisters also bought a lot of food and gave it to the people who were tearing down the house. With a happy-looking Liberty, the helpers worked excellently. In the evening, everything that could be taken down was taken down, and everything else was smashed. "Ms. Hunt, do we need to clean the rubbish?" a worker asked Liberty. Liberty looked around the house and said, "No, I spent a lot of money to hire people to clean up during the renovation back then too. Leave it to them to clean up now. I'll consider this as reimbursing my money for the cleaners from back then." Serenity walked around the house. The drywall was taken down cleanly and the floor tiles were pried up and shattered. Since Liberty said there was no need to clean up, they complied. It would be left to Hank and the others to deal with when they came back. "Thank goodness we took your advice and let your cousin arrange for workers to help out, Jas. Professionals not only get the job done quickly, the results are also pretty impressive." Jasmine grinned. "This is their job. It's only right to ask them to help. Ask your cousin how much the labor cost and send the invoice to me. I'll pay them for their work." Jasmine hummed. "I already did. He'll let me know the amount and I'll tell you, okay?" Then, the two returned to Liberty and Serenity asked her sister, "Is there anything else?" "There's also the wiring. I was the one who paid for it, but it's dark now so it's not convenient to remove them. Tell the workers to just cut the wires and we'll leave." Serenity immediately relayed that to the workers and they got to work. When that was done, the things that Hank bought with his money were moved back into the house. The group of people worked efficiently. When Zachary arrived, everyone was already downstairs helping to move the things to the trucks. Serenity. Zachary got out of the car and walked toward Serenity. The person who got out of the car next to him was Josh. Josh deliberately lagged behind by a few steps and put some distance between himself and the couple. He only approached after they had exchanged a few words. "Hello, Serenity." Josh greeted Serenity with a smile. Serenity looked at him and thought he looked rather familiar. It then clicked in her mind that he was Zachary's colleague who Zachary shared a good relationship with. Although she had never met Josh in person, she had seen him a few times with Zachary before. "Hello," Josh introduced himself. "My last name is Butcham. I heard Zachary mention that your sister is moving, so I came over to see if there's anything I can help with." "Thank you, Mr. Butcham, but we're more or less done." Serenity knew that this was the colleague whom Zachary had introduced to Jasmine as soon as she heard the man's last name. She quietly looked at Josh for a while and felt that he was a good match for her best friend. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 554. Zachary said that unless it was an outstanding man, he would not introduce the man to Serenity's best friend. It seemed he was living up to his words. Josh was a little regretful that he came at the wrong time. He looked at Jasmine, who was directing everyone to move Liberty's stuff. When she saw him, she walked over and greeted him. "Mr. Butcham, Ms. Socks." Josh smiled back and asked with concern, "Are you feeling better from your cold?" "Yes, thank you for your concern." Serenity quietly took Zachary away so Josh and Jasmine could talk. When they were by themselves, she praised her husband. "Zachary, your colleague is quite brilliant. Is he also a director in your company? I saw him when you came out of the hotel." "Yeah, he's also a director with a very high position. Everyone calls him Mr. Butcham." He suddenly leaned into Serenity's ear and whispered, "He told me not to say, but since we're husband and wife, there's no harm telling you. Mr. Butcham has won the trust of our CEO and is his right-hand man. It can be said that apart from the CEO, Mr. Bucham has the highest status in the company. Serenity blinked. He's that powerful? Zachary nodded seriously. He's truly amazing. Everyone in the industry will feel awed at the mere mention of him. Serenity looked at Josh again. Zachary turned her face back and quickly gave her a peck on the cheek, saying in a low voice, "Don't look at him. I'm better looking than him. He's the person closest to Mr. York, so I just wanted to look at him again. The people around Mr. York are exceptional. Mr. York himself must be amazing as well. It's no wonder Alyssa was infatuated with him for so long and unable to give him up." Zachary straightened his back and said warmly, "If Mr. York could make someone as remarkable as Mr. Bucham too work for him willingly, then he's no doubt beyond amazing compared to Mr. Bucham. Was Mr. Bucham the one who helped my sister collect the evidence of Hank cheating?" Zachary was struck silent. Did he accidentally expose Josh's identity as an informant? Serenity actually managed to guess that it was Josh. "You said that it was your friend who helped us. I can't think of anyone else other than Mr. Bucham. You also said that in your company, Mr. Bucham's status is second only to Mr. York's. I know that influential people have strong connections. Who else can help you with that favor besides Mr. Bucham? You can't have troubled the great Mr. York for my sister's affairs, right?" He mentioned before that it was hard to even see Mr. York in the company. That was why Serenity thought that he had asked Josh for help. Zachary could not help but reach out and rub Serenity's head. There was a smile in his eyes. "Nana really found me a treasure. You're always full of surprises. I did ask Mr. Bucham for help. He helped me because I helped matchmake him with Miss Socks." Serenity expressed her understanding. She sensibly did not say a word about how capable Zachary was to build connections with such a powerful person. "How is the demolition going? Did you take pictures?" Zachary changed the topic. He refused to admit that it was also because he was a little nosy. Serenity paused before saying, "I forgot to take pictures. Anyway, whatever could be taken down was taken down, and those that couldn't be taken down were smashed. The house has more or less returned to how it was before the renovation." Zachary laughed. "That's how it should be." Seeing that everyone had loaded everything onto the truck, he took Serenity's hand and said, "Let's go to Liberty's place and help her. Let's go to the store to pick up Sunny first." Zachary agreed indulgently. "Okay." Stranger Marriage, Chapter 555. After a lively afternoon, calm finally returned after dark. Back in the day, Liberty was especially attentive when setting up this small home and spent a lot of money on it. Now, all the appliances she bought were removed. She could not fit all of them into her rented house, so she picked some of the commonly used ones to keep and sell the rest as pre-owned items instead of moving them to her sister's place. It was somewhat like a farewell to the past. Liberty's rented house was not cleaned up yet, so it was not convenient to cook. Thus, she invited everyone to a hotel for dinner. It was also a celebration of regaining her freedom. Liberty happily bid farewell to her past. Meanwhile, Hank was not idle either. He went to Jessica's rented apartment at 9 o'clock in the evening. "Jessica, is this all you have?" Hank saw that Jessica did not have many things packed. He went up to her and asked her while pulling the suitcase, "Have you finished packing everything?" "I usually live alone, so I don't have many belongings. I've finished packing. I threw everything I didn't want away." Jessica held her beloved bag and a plushie she hugged to sleep as she followed Hank out the door. "I've stopped renting the unit." "Good. My place is much better than this apartment." "Has Liberty moved out?" Jessica locked the door of the apartment, removed the key to the apartment from her bunch of keys, and gave it to the security personnel of the building downstairs. The guard was the apartment owner's relative. She said to him, "I told the owner that I'm not renting the apartment anymore. I've never delayed or owed the rent and utility payments either. You guys just have to clean it up a little. There are many appliances that I didn't move either." What she meant was, if the security guard had the unit cleaned up quickly, they could keep a lot of appliances that she left behind. After receiving the key, he turned around and asked his wife to go clean the unit. Hank pulled the suitcase and walked toward his car with Jessica while saying, "Liberty sent me a message before it got dark. She said that she had already moved out. At the same time, she also sent him her bank account number so he could just transfer money to Sunny directly. She would delete Hank's contact as well as his phone number. Remember to tell her to return the key to the house. Since they were divorced, Jessica did not want to let Liberty have the opportunity to return to the house again. From here on, the missus of that house was her, Jessica Yates. Later, she would take a picture of the house and send it to her family group. She would let her family see the newlywed house that her boyfriend had prepared for her. It was guaranteed to reap a wave of envy. Liberty said she left the keys to the house with my neighbor opposite my unit. I'll get it from them later. After getting into the car, Hank said, "Don't worry, Jessica. Liberty isn't the kind of person who will regret her decisions. In the future, I'll only belong to you. No one will fight with you over me." He leaned over and kissed Jessica on the cheek, saying in a husky voice, "Let's go for a few rounds tonight." Jessica pushed him away with a charming smile. "We have to work tomorrow. I can give you a day off to rest at home. You can go shopping when you're well rested." Liberty moved away all the things that she bought. "Just go ahead and buy whatever you want to buy for our house." Okay. Jessica dreamed of having a suite in the city. Now that she finally had the opportunity to own one, she had to decorate Hank and her home with care. Her taste was definitely better than Liberty's. She would make the home cozier than before so that Hank would want to come home every day. Hank drove while talking to Jessica about their future. The two of them fantasized about their beautiful life ahead and finally returned to Bright Boulevard. As soon as they entered the residential area, Jessica praised, "The environment here is good, and the occupancy rate is also very high. There's even Wiltspoon High nearby, so we're in its catchment area. Hank, you really have good foresight to buy a place here." "Yeah, I bought a house here because I saw that it was near Wiltspoon High and was in the catchment area. Fortunately, I acted quickly. If I waited until now, I wouldn't be able to afford it. It's too expensive." The speed at which house prices soared was beyond the reach of ordinary people. Hank parked his car in his designated parking spot. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 556. Which floor is our unit? 16th floor. Hank carried Jessica's suitcase out of the car, pulled it, and took Jessica inside. A neighbor bumped into them at the elevator and exchanged greetings with them, then asked, "Mr. Brown, didn't your wife bring a group of people over to move out this afternoon? Why are you still coming back to live here?" "She was moving her stuff out." The neighbor glanced at Jessica and seemed to understand. He smiled at Hank and left. It was no wonder Hank was chased by Liberty with a kitchen knife for 5 blocks. It turned out that he was cheating on his wife. The couple should be divorced, right? Liberty just moved out this afternoon, and Hank came home with a beautiful woman on the same night. He would not be so blatant unless he was already divorced. Does he suspect something? Jessica was a homewrecker, after all, so she still felt uneasy. Hank pulled her suitcase with one arm while embracing her shoulders with the other. He swept her into the elevator with a smile on his face. "Have you forgotten what I did this afternoon? I divorced Liberty, so I'm single now. You're my girlfriend, so what if they know?" "Jessica, we can be together openly and honestly now. There's no need to care about what others say anymore." Jessica paused before saying, "That's right, you're divorced." She did not have to sneak around anymore. The elevator took 2 of them to the 16th floor. "We're here." Hank pointed to the door of his house. "That's the one." Jessica followed him. He took out his keys and pushed open the door. It was dark inside, and that gave him a brief moment of bewilderment. In the past, no matter how late he came back, there would be a light turned on at home, waiting for him. Now that light would never turn on again. "It's so dark, turn on the lights." Jessica reminded him to switch on the lights when she followed him into the house. Hank reached for the switch behind the door habitually and pressed it, but no lights were lit. He thought he did not press the button properly and pressed it again. The house was still dark. What was going on? Was there a power outage? However, other people's homes were lit. There was no way a power outage only affected his unit. Hank took out his cell phone, turned on the flashlight, and shone it toward the light switch. It was perfectly fine, and he did not press the wrong button either, so why were the lights not working? "Hank!" Jessica suddenly tugged his shirt and shouted in horror, "Are we in the wrong house?" This was Hank's house. There was no luxurious refurbishment at all. The walls were not even plastered, and there was garbage everywhere in the house. This was definitely not Hank's home. What? Hank swept his phone in an arc. With the small flashlight, he saw everything in the house. clearly, and was so shocked that he dropped his phone on the ground. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 557 Crack. The phone screen shattered when it hit the ground. Hank hurriedly bent down to pick up the phone and once again looked at everything at home without caring about the broken screen. Jessica also turned on the flashlight on her cell phone, and together they looked at the state of the house. Never mind the lack of luxury decoration, it was even worse than a shack. "Hank, are we in the wrong house?" Jessica was still holding onto false hope. Hank walked inside and said, "That's impossible. My key wouldn't be able to open the door if it was the wrong house. This is my house. What happened here? Where are my appliances? Is that all there is?" The more Hank looked, the darker his expression became. He stood in front of the dining table which he had paid for. A light bulb moment hit him. He suddenly understood. It was Liberty. "Liberty!" he shouted up as the thought crossed his mind. "She smashed up my house." Hank was furious. Jessica immediately said, "Let's call the police now. They'll arrest her and make her compensate for it too. She should at least pay for the renovation fee after smashing your home like this." Renovation cost? Hank wanted to call the police, but when he heard Jessica mention the renovation cost, he immediately ended the call. "Why aren't you calling? Is it because you can't bear to? Do you still have feelings for her?" Jessica saw him hang up the call immediately after dialing, and she was livid, so she blurted out without thinking. She stopped renting her apartment and packed everything to follow him home. She had been looking forward to living in a lavishly decorated home and being able to show off a little in her family group. However, the house turned out to be even worse than a shack. That was not just a mere rain on her parade, it was a torrential downpour that completely drenched her from head to toe, with the cold penetrating from inside out. "We can't call the police. It was Liberty who paid for the renovation fees back then. She probably spent more than $400,000 on it. She once told me to reimburse her during the divorce, but I refused." Hank's eyes flashed with hatred, and he said with resentment, "She said that she'll use her ways to get the renovation fees back. I figured that I won't have to fork out money, so it didn't matter to me what she would do. I thought at most, she'll move the furniture away. I didn't expect her to even take down the drywall." Jessica was speechless. Although Hank did not call the police, he could not help but call Liberty. However, she did not answer. After thinking about it, he suspected that she had blocked his number, so he used Jessica's phone to call her instead. She picked up. "It's me." Hank could not control his anger and questioned her in a stern voice. "Liberty Hunt, what is the meaning of this? You wrecked my home?" "It's still there. That's how it looked when you first bought it." Liberty had just put her son to sleep and was ready to wash up and go to bed. When she received a call from her ex-husband, she quietly walked out of the room so as not to wake her son. Her sister and brother-in-law left only 10 minutes ago. I told you, if you won't refund me the renovation cost, I'll get it back in my own way. I just took back what I was owed for the renovation. It's not your money anyway, so what are you angry about?" Stranger Marriage, Chapter 558. Hank paused before asking, "Couldn't you have at least cleared away all the garbage?" Liberty laughed. "There was a lot of garbage when the house was first renovated too, and I was the one who paid for someone to clean it up. You didn't reimburse me for that either. I'm just collecting my money back now. How much does it cost to hire someone to clean up? Why are you haggling with me over that little bit of money?" "Why shouldn't I haggle? That's my money. My money doesn't grow on trees. Why should I give it to you? I'll get back every penny I've spent." Hank was speechless. After a long time, he gnashed his teeth and said, "Fine, you win. I'm only getting my renovation fee back. There's nothing to win. Your house now looks like what you paid for." Hank was so angry that he hung up the phone. He wanted to throw the phone, but Jessica quickly grabbed it. "That's my phone, don't throw it." "Damn it." Hank could not do anything else but repeated those two words. As Liberty had said, she was merely getting her renovation money back. The place he bought was unfurnished. There was no one he could blame. "What now, Hank?" Jessica did not expect Liberty to be so ruthless. It was no wonder Hank did not want her anymore. A vicious woman like her would not be able to remarry. Jessica cursed Liberty a million times in her heart. "I won't stay with you in a house like this." She wanted to live in a luxurious home. "I already stopped renting my apartment. Where are we going to live now?" Hank scratched his head in annoyance and said, "Let's go to a hotel and find a place to stay tomorrow. We'll rent an apartment to stay in while we get this place renovated. It used to be furnished according to Liberty's liking anyway. Now, we'll renovate it based on our preferences. How much money do you have, Jessica? Jessica instinctively said, "This is your premarital property. I won't pay for the renovation even if I have money. I'll only shell out money for the renovation if you transfer the house to my name and give me a sense of security." She was not as stupid as Liberty, who was willing to pay for the renovations even without her name on the title deed. Besides, you have to treat this house as our marital home. Of course you have to be the one paying for the renovation. Houses for newly-weds are always prepared by the groom. Hank was silent for a while before saying, "I'll handle the money and you'll take care of it. I'm too busy with work to manage trivial matters like these." "You need to work, but so do I. I'm still your secretary. Will the work you have be lesser than mine? Ask your parents to handle it. They're always at your sister's place looking after her children anyway, so that shouldn't be a problem." Her future in-laws had a son, but they were always helping their daughter. Only someone like Liberty could tolerate it, but not Jessica. It was fine if her in-laws did not help her, but they could not help Chelsea either. If they helped Chelsea, then Chelsea would have to take care of them in their old age. Chelsea benefited from them now, so she had to take care of them in the future. Jessica would not care about them. Hank was silent again before saying, "Let's go to a hotel first. We'll leave the renovation matters for next year. It's almost the New Year's now, so it won't be easy to hire anyone. We haven't picked the materials we want either. There's no rush, just take it slow." Jessica hummed. There was no other choice. The two silently left the house. Hank locked the door and turned to leave. Jessica called out to him and pointed to her suitcase. "Aren't you going to help me carry my suitcase?" Hank turned around and helped her with the suitcase. "I was so angry at Liberty that it slipped my mind." Jessica pursed her lips and said nothing. She was infuriated too, but she could not settle the score with Liberty. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 559. Hank was furious, whereas Serenity felt today went by spectacularly. After she and her husband left Liberty's newly rented apartment, she was laughing the entire way home. Zachary was amused. "Don't laugh too hard or your stomach will hurt." "I'll still be happy even if my stomach hurts. Hank must be home by now. I wonder what his reaction was. When he saw the state of his place, he must have thought he entered the wrong house. Haha, I can't help but laugh when I think of his reaction. Let me join in on the fun too." Zachary then fell into Serenity's laughing spell. He laughed until he almost hit the street light. He swerved in fright and managed to avoid the collision. Serenity was so startled that she forgot to laugh. When it was safe, she said, "Zachary, is your driving okay? I can drive instead. My driving skills are exceptional. Racing won't be a problem either. I got my driver's license when I was 18. I'm an experienced driver. Just now was just an accident. I laughed too hard and got distracted." Serenity was a little stumped before she finally said, "Okay, I won't talk to you anymore. You focus on driving." She turned her head to look at the old lady in the backseat. Seeing that the woman seemed to be sleeping, she reminded her husband, "Nana is asleep. Turn down the music." Zachary did as he was told. Mrs. Lane stayed at Liberty's house and did not follow them back. Serenity yawned. "I'm sleepy too. We're almost home. I'll just take a nap. Wake me up when we get home." "Your nap will last until morning. Don't sleep. Home is just 10 minutes away. Let's talk." Serenity gave him a side glance. "We might die if I talk to you." Zachary was speechless. He spoke after a while. "Serenity, in my life, no one except for you has attacked me like that. I'm telling the truth." Serenity leaned on the headrest and took out her phone to watch short clips. Some clips were particularly funny and dispelled her sleepiness, and they finally made it home. Grandma may seem to have a built-in alarm clock in her body and woke up just as Zachary parked the car. Everyone was tired after working all day. Grandma May did not tease the couple and went upstairs to wash up and go to sleep. She already knew that the young couple was staying together, so that meant Serenity was not shy anymore. She moved her everyday items to Zachary's room. Zachary watched her move her belongings piece by piece. His eyes were full of affection. He very much liked this feeling of them having each other in their lives. He took her pajamas, handed them to her, and said in a soft voice, "Go take a shower first, Saren. It's very late now. Rest early and sort it out tomorrow." "What time is it?" Serenity asked, but she took out her own phone to check the time. "It's 11:30. She muttered, "It's so late, I'm going to take a shower." She took the pajamas he handed her, went to get the toiletries she was using, and entered the bathroom. By the time she came out of the bathroom, her skincare products were already sorted by Zachary. "Saren, I arranged it for you. What do you think? Which brand do you usually use?" Zachary was fishing for credit. Serenity only glanced at it, then climbed into bed and went to sleep. Her body was curled up with her hands covering her stomach. Her stomach hurt. In the past, she would only have abdominal pain on the first day of her period. This time, however, it only started to hurt today. It might be because she ran around and overworked during the day. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 560. What's wrong, Saren? Zachary noticed something was wrong with her and quickly walked over. He sat down on the edge of the bed, reached out to tug her body, and asked with concern, "Unwell? My stomach hurts." "Are you feeling your stomach? Are you bloated because you ate too much during supper?" Serenity glared at him. "No, then why does your stomach hurt?" Serenity rolled over and turned her back to him. "You won't understand. I'll be fine if I lie down and bear with it for a while." Zachary frowned. He stood up, then bent down to pick her up from the bed again. His handsome face said seriously, "I don't know medicine, but a doctor does. I'll send you to the hospital. Don't try to endure it. It'll be too late for regrets if you bear with it and it turns out to be a big problem. There's no need to go to the hospital. It hurts because I'm having period cramps." Zachary paused before saying, "Your period? Oh, I get it now." He quickly placed Serenity back on the bed. "Why does it hurt?" He had no clue that period would bring pain to women when Aunt Flo visited. There were no young girls in his family, and he had no contact with women except those from his father's generation. Thus, he genuinely had no idea about such things. When Serenity had her period, he would make hot cocoa for her because he had seen his father prepared it for his mother before. That was why he knew that girls could drink hot cocoa during their menses. "Maybe it's hurting because I was out and about during the day and because of the cold weather. Please brew me a cup of hot cocoa." "Okay, hang in there. I'll go prepare it for you now." Zachary quickly rushed to make the hot drink and even called his mother while he was in the kitchen. "Zach, your mom is asleep. Call again tomorrow." The person who answered the phone was his father. "Dad, can you wake Mom up? I have something to ask her." "What's so important that you have to ask her now? I told you your mother is asleep, so don't wake her. Tell me what's the issue. Maybe I can help you solve it." In Liam's opinion, his son's problems were not as important as letting his wife sleep. "Dad, do you know of any medicine that can relieve menstrual cramps?" Liam said after a pause. "Are they for you?" Zachary was speechless. "What are you talking about? My wife needs them." "You scared me to death. I thought you went for a sex reassignment surgery and became a woman. Although your mom and I want a daughter, we've long accepted the fact that we only have a son. We're looking forward to having a granddaughter now. Don't even think about getting a sex reassignment surgery." Zachary was amazed by his father's thought process to be able to think of something as absurd as a sex reassignment surgery at this hour. "Go get a warm compress for her to apply to her abdomen. You can also make her drinks like hot cocoa or chamomile tea. Actually, just have a child soon and it'll be fine. Your mom was like that in the past too, but she got a lot better after giving birth to you. Her cramps would only hurt badly when she was tired." "All right, I get it." Zachary hurriedly hung up the phone, afraid that his father would say something shocking again. He made the hot cocoa for Serenity and brought it into the room. "I'm going out to buy some medicine for you." He swiftly took the car keys and left. Serenity turned around and tried to call out to him, but only saw his back as he closed the door. He was wearing a nightshirt and slippers. Zachary was someone who cared a lot about his image, but because of her, he forgot that he was in his sleepwear and hurried out to buy medicine. Serenity was warmed by his action. It turned out that even an iceberg could thaw into such a caring man. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 561, Lingfei 561, Sitting up, Serenity took the cup of hot cocoa and slowly sipped on it. She had no idea whether it was Zachary's care for her or the hot drink working its magic, but she felt a lot better after the cup of cocoa and another lie-down. By the time Zachary was back with something to relieve her pain, Serenity was scrolling the news on her phone. "Why? Are you on your phone when you're sick?" Zachary drew close and snatched the phone out of her hands before stuffing the pain relief medicine into her hands. He said, "It's late. The pharmacy was closed. I went to the nearby hospital and got a doctor to prescribe you some pills. Take some and go back to bed." Lifting her chin, Serenity quietly stared at him. What's the matter? She jolted up and stood before him, bringing her arms around his waist while emotionally uttering, "You're so good to me, Zachary." As Zachary embraced her, he could guess that she must be feeling better after a cup of cocoa. He dotingly remarked, "You're my wife. Who's going to be good to you if not me?" Now that Serenity could see he was good to her, Zachary hoped she would not dump his sorry *SS when she found out later that he lied to her. Hopefully, she would look back and think about his dedication, love, and concern for her. Nana said that he had to go for her heart. Sweet talk was not his thing. Plus, she cringed at it too. Zachary had to knuckle down on the tiny details in life and melt her heart bit by bit until she was willing to open her heart and let him in. Only then, they could have a future together. "Zachary, yes. Do you know what you were wearing when you went out? It's a dressing gown." Dumbstruck, Zachary nudged her away and lowered his gaze to his clothes. Indeed, he had his dressing gown on. "You also wore loafers out." Zachary took a look at his feet. No wonder his toes were feeling the chill when he was out. It turned out that he wore his house loafers out. It was a good thing that he went out late at night, so no one saw him. Otherwise, he would hit the headlines in Wiltspoon's local paper tomorrow. "I was so concerned about you that I didn't notice what I was wearing when I went out." Zachary held her to sit back on the bed and held her hands. Unable to feel the ring, he immediately raised her hand up high. With a scowl, he asked, "Where's the wedding ring I gave you?" "I didn't feel comfortable wearing it while working, so I took it off when I got to work." Peering at his grimacing face, Serenity immediately added, "I'll put it on right away when I get to the shop tomorrow. I won't ever take it off again." "I told you not to remove it once it was on you. You have to show Sean that you're married or he will always pine after you and never give up. By taking the ring off, he would think that our relationship is rocky and that he has a chance." Her tender hand loomed up against his face and stroked him gently. Next came her sultry soothing. "My bad, Zachary. Don't be angry, okay? You'll get wrinkles from frowning constantly. You're only a few years older than I am. You should take good care of yourself before I dump you for aging a lot faster than me." "Don't you dare." Clutching her against his chest, he lowered his head to ravish her lips as a punishment before letting her, "I'll drive you to the shop tomorrow. I'll only leave for work when you put the ring back on. If I ever find you without the ring, I'll buy all the rings in every jewelry store in Wiltspoon and put them on all 10 of your fingers to declare my entitlement over you." Serenity murmured, "Do you have that kind of money?" She kept her voice pretty low. Did he fancy himself as the dominant CEO in fiction? It was not like he was loaded to the point he could buy all the rings in every jewelry store in Wiltspoon. Picking up on her mumbles, Zachary made a moo at her. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 562. Out of everything Zachary had said to Serenity, the point that caught Serenity's attention was money. His wife reckoned that he, the heir of the Yorks and the head of the multi-billion-dollar York Corporation, had no money letting loose of her. Zachary got up and walked away. Serenity blinked her eyes. Was the petty guy angry again? She got up too. But instead of cheering him up, Serenity poured herself a glass of water and downed the pills he bought. He paid no heed to his appearance and wore his dressing gown and loafers to get her something to help with the pain. It would be a waste of his effort if Serenity did not take the medicine. It would probably fuel his anger too. Zachary soon returned to her side. "Put your hand out," he ordered. "What's the matter?" Lifting her chin, Serenity watched as he took out a red jewelry box. She asked hesitantly, "Is this a ring?" Zachary opened the jewelry box and grabbed her left hand. Taking the gold ring out of the box, he put it on her ring finger. "This is the ring I first bought. I later thought the eternal diamond ring was more beautiful. That was why I gave you that ring instead. You can wear this gold ring for now, until we get to the shop tomorrow to get the eternal diamond ring." Zachary bought a pair of gold rings to give Alyssa a reality check. With that in mind, he bought an extra ring. The rings came in handy now. After putting the gold ring on Serenity's finger, Zachary removed the eternal diamond ring and wore the other gold ring. He was dead set on wearing a matching pair with Serenity. He was such a tyrant. Zachary was bossy, petty, and not to mention jealous. Serenity roasted her man in her mind. Having put on the gold ring, Zachary grabbed Serenity's hand and locked fingers with her. He then pulled out his phone with his free hand and took a picture of their intertwined fingers. Serenity uttered amusedly, "Are you posting it on Facebook?" Zachary was without a word. Seeing that he posted the picture on Facebook, Serenity pinched his cheek. "You're such a tyrant, but I like it. Send me the photo. I want to share it on Facebook to show off our affection too. Will I get dissed for posting all the mushy stuff online in the middle of the night?" Serenity said as she tapped on her phone. Once she published the photo on Facebook, she put her phone back on the bedside table and hooked the tyrant by the neck, landing on the bed together. "Don't be mad, let's get some sleep. Serenity." Zachary brought his inner tyrant to life. "You're mine. I'm not yours, I'm my own person. I don't belong to anyone." Zachary's dark eyes were fixated on her. Letting out a yawn, she snuggled up against his warm embrace and drifted into dreamland. She refused to discuss the matter further with him. It took a while before Zachary leaned into purr in her ear. "Serenity, I feel vulnerable. You're too composed. I'm afraid to lose you. What should I do with you?" Serenity was deep in her slumber to hear his murmurs, unaware that behind his domineering exterior was his vulnerability and fear. Of course, Zachary had it coming. To quote Grandma May, Zachary shot himself in the foot. Zachary's Facebook friends were his friends, buddies, and important clients. It was a rare sight to see Zachary post on Facebook, let alone putting hearts and flowers online and announcing his marital status. With his photo making rounds online, it caused quite a stir among the upper crust of Wiltspoon. Everybody wanted to know the identity of the lucky lady who married Zachary. Lingfei, Married at First Sight. Stranger Marriage, Chapter 563, Zachary held Serenity, intending to meet her in dreamland. After closing his eyes, something abruptly came to mind. He gently peeled away from Serenity and sat up. Zachary reached out to grab Serenity's phone on the bedside table. He posted the photo on Facebook to announce he was married within his circle. The photo would definitely get out in the open. Zachary was not afraid of the photo getting circulated because the photo only showed a pair of hands. It would protect Serenity from the media vultures for now. However, Serenity's post on Facebook might be seen by Alyssa. Since Serenity and Alyssa were close, the girls would have added each other on Facebook. Clive could see his photo through others, while Alyssa would find the photo on Serenity's Facebook. By making a comparison, Alyssa would realize that Serenity was his wife. Zachary could not let Alyssa know about him and Serenity for now. Serenity and Mrs. Stone had done a DNA test, and the results would be out in 2 days. No matter the outcome, it would not change the fact that Serenity and Alyssa hit it off. Should his cover be blown, Zachary shuddered to think of the consequences. Grabbing Serenity's phone, Zachary tapped on her Facebook app, but she had logged out. Her password, Zachary furrowed his brows. He was watching beside her when Serenity was logging in. Her password was, he harked back for a moment before attempting to key in a password. The first attempt came out wrong. So was the second attempt. Taking a pause, Zachary forced himself to keep his cool and not to panic. He dug back into his memory for the letters Serenity had tapped on. After a few minutes of silence, Zachary tried once more to key in the password. This time, he got into her Facebook. Zachary grinned widely, feeling happier than when closing a multi-billion-dollar deal. He quickly searched Serenity's list of friends on Facebook and found Alyssa. Thank goodness Alyssa used her actual name. Zachary then tapped on Alyssa's profile and blocked her from Serenity's Facebook posts and stories. Serenity shared the photo on her stories, so the photo would be long gone by the time Serenity realized that Alyssa could not see her posts and stories. He thanked his lucky stars that he and Serenity published the photo late at night. Their friends were fast asleep in bed. No one had liked the photo Serenity posted yet. The certain repeat theft offender happily lay back down by Serenity. Struck by a thought, Zachary took Serenity's phone once more and checked what Serenity saved his contact under. Mr. York, husband married at first sight. Zachary was speechless. Serenity was probably concerned she would forget who he was for her to add the remarks behind Mr. York. It was just like when he forgot who she was and deleted her number. He added her number back and added a remark so he could remember her. Putting down the phone, Zachary grabbed his phone and searched for Serenity's contact. He then changed the contact's name to my wife. Serenity would think that it was sweet of him should one day she was to check her name on his phone, as if Serenity would think that. Good night, Serenity, please dream of me, Zachary murmured in her ear before hitting the sack with her in his arms. Serenity had a dreamless sleep until the morning light. Opening her eyes, she found herself alone in bed. She had no idea when Zachary got up. Serenity sat up and noticed that Zachary had put her clothes on the nightstand. She would not be able to miss them when she got up.
Welcome to NovelsAudio.com. We hope you have a relaxing and enjoyable time.